Slobodin is a senior front-end developer and popular YouTube video creator. In this course, he's going to teach you how to create a full-stack web store using Angular, Node.js, and Stripe.
If you're looking to build an e-commerce store, you're on the right place because I'm going to show you how easy it is to build it. In this tutorial, I'm going to use AngularJS, TypeScript, Node.js, and Express.js, and we are going to do Stripe payment integration. We are going to use Angular Material Component Library, and we are going to use Tailwind to help us to style not material component. And this tutorial is only for teaching purposes, so we are not going to be creating the real products, but we are going to use Fake-Store API in order to help us. Prerequisite for this video is to have Node.js installed on your machine. To have Angular fundamentals, go check my course on YouTube if you're not sure. And to create an account on Stripe.com. It's free, by the way. And that's all. Let's start coding.
Code with Sloba.
Okay, on my desktop, the first thing which I want to open is my terminal. So right click and I will open up the Git bash here. You can open up the terminal, the PowerShell, whatever you're using. For me, it's Git bash. Now, the first thing that you want to have is npm installed. I assume that you already installed the npm. Now, let's install the Angular CLI. This will help us to create new Angular project, and it will help us to create new components, services, whatever we need inside of our Angular application. So in order to install it, run npm I for install and Angular/CLI, and the version is going to be 14.2.1. Make sure to install exactly the same version, otherwise you may run into issues during the project development. Installation has been done. Let's clear this. Now we want to create new project. It's really easy to install the new project once you have Angular CLI installed. So run the command ng new, and now we need to pass the name of our application. I will just name it store. And I want to pass a couple of parameters. So I want application to create default routing for us, because we're going to have 2 pages. Then I want to remove the tests, so add a flag skip tests, because we're not going to be dealing with tests in this tutorial. And we want to have the application minimal, so set the minimal flag, like so. This will take some time to create the application and install the packages. I will be right back. And the application has been installed successfully. The packages installed successfully and successfully initialized a Git repository for us. Okay, now we can close this and we can open the Visual Studio Code. So for me, it's just Visual Studio Code. You may use some other code editors of your choice. So open the folder, and I created this folder on the desktop. So it was called the store. Just select the folder. I trust the authors, okay. And now we want to open the terminal on the bottom of the VS Code. We can close the get started. So the packages have been already installed. As you can see, we have the Node modules installed. And once again, if you open up the package.json file, make sure that you have the correct version of Angular installed. As you can see, for me, the Angular core version is 14. So make sure to have exactly the same version. Now, in order to start, we can just run ng serve. And this will start. Actually, I'm running on the PowerShell. It may come with issues, so I need to open up the Git bash. And now just go ng serve. This should start our local server. It says, do I want to share the pseudonymous usage data? No, I don't want to. That has been disabled. We just want to develop the application, nothing else. And once the compilation has been done, we can open up the localhost 4200 and see that our app is running. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to our source app and access our app component. So inside of our template, let's remove here this boilerplate code, like so. And for the router outlet, we can remove that as well. This is the place where we are going to be placing our components. So what I wanted to do, the first thing is I want to add the Angular material This is the library that we are going to be using for creating all the components, so it's easier to develop and faster. If I go to Angular material documentation, you can see the list. On the sidebar, you can see the list of all the components that I have. In order to use the specific components, for example, like table, you need to go to the API of this component and you can import it. Import this module inside of your app modules. And you can see the examples, how to use it. You just need to go to view code and you can see and you can play around with it. It's really easy to implement, and I highly advise you to go to the material documentation website first before you start developing and play around with these components, because these are the components that we are going to be using throughout the development. Now, let me add the Angular material. In order to add it, let me first clear the console. I will just run ng add at ng add at Angular /material, like so. Would you like to proceed? Yes. And installing all the packages. You can save our app component.ts file. It asks us what is the theme, default theme that you want to install. And I will choose the first one. As you can see here, it says Indigo Pink. It's good enough for me. So actually you need to be focused on the terminal. So select the Indigo. Set up global Angular material typography styles. Yes. Include and enable animations. Yes. So just click enter. You can select the option with the arrow up and the arrow down, and just click enter when you want to confirm. And with this, we have added all the Angular material files that we need. Now, in order to use them inside of our application, we actually need to open up the app modules file. In here, we need to install all the modules and import them in order to use them. So here, inside of the imports array, let's just add all the components that we want to use. So I'm going to be using the mat side. Now let's first import all the modules, and later on we can just focus on developing, and we don't have to play around with the configuration, importing the modules and things like that. So mat side nav module. The next one is going to be mat grid list module. This one is obviously for the grid. The side nav is for our layout, and basically we're going to have the side nav on the left side with the filters and the categories. The next one is mat menu module. We're going to have a couple of menus, obviously. Then next one is going to be mat button module. Okay. Then mat card module. Most of the elements is going to be placed inside of the card modules. Card module will give you nice styles around your elements. Mat card module. Next one is mat icon module. So we will have a couple of icons as well, obviously. Mat icon module, mat expansion module. This one is going to be for the expansion filters on the left sidebar. Next one is mat list module, also for the left sidebar. Then mat toolbar module. This is going to be used in the header because we're going to have a couple of components that are going to be using the toolbar. Next one is mat table module. We're going to have table on the cart page. Then the next one is mat badge module. This one is for adding the badge inside of our cart icon, because our cart icon is going to have a badge and display how many items is inside of the cart. So this module is for that. Then mat snack bar module. This one is for displaying the information. Snack bar for displaying information to the user. So maybe you're adding the item to the cart, or you're removing, or maybe you're creating new product. Whatever you're doing, you can notify the user for that. And this module is for that. And this sums up all the modules that we're going to be using. Now we just need to import these files because we have imported them inside of the imports array, but they need to be imported into this file. So we can use the import on top, and let's do this for all these modules. So import MathSideNav module from Angular material. This one is from SideNav. You see the auto completion there, and we can just copy paste this a couple of times. It's going to be easier for us to just copy paste like so. And obviously we need to update the URL. Math menu, math button, copies. Make sure to copy it correctly. So we are replacing the SideNav module here. Then math icon module. Then math expansion module. Then math list module. Let me paste a couple more times. Okay. Let's remove these dots, these commas actually. Then let me copy paste the other ones. Math toolbar, math table module, math badge module, and math snack bar module. Okay, let me remove these commas. And now let me update. So for the grid list, it's going to be from grid list. From menu is going to be from menu. Button is going to be Angular material button. Cart is going to be from cart. Card actually. Icon, Angular material icon. Expansion model from the expansion. SideNav. Actually, toolbar is going to be from the toolbar. Table from the table. Badge from the badge. Snack bar from the snack bar, and the list module from the Angular material list module. And now we have done a lot of stuff, right? Nobody likes the setup and the modules import, but this once we done this on the beginning, we can focus on coding and we don't have to worry about what we have imported and what we haven't. So, but the thing that you need to know is that we're only importing the components that we need in our application. And as you can see, there are a bunch of components in the Angular material, but we're only using the ones and importing the ones that we're using in the application. The next thing that I want to import and create in our project is Tailwind. Tailwind is a utility CSS library, and it helps you to not style, but to position your elements easier. So for the components, we are using the Angular material, but for additional styling and for faster development, we're going to use the Tailwind. So in order to install it, you can just go to Tailwind and you can play around. It's very nice utility library, and they have really great documentation. So whatever the property that you need to use, you can search and find really easily. Okay. So in order to install it, you just follow up the documentation. So as you can see, npm install -d Tailwind CSS, post CSS, and auto prefixer. These are all the packages that you need in order to run the Tailwind. So let's run that inside of the root folder. Run just this npm install. Once that is done, let me clear the console. We can initialize the Tailwind CSS. So we need to create a configuration file. Make sure to copy it. And now let's open up the Tailwind config file. It's here in the root folder, Tailwind config.js file. The thing which we want to add, as you can see here, it says configure your template paths. So we want to tell the Tailwind what are the templates that we want to style, right, to use. So here we're basically targeting the source folder and all the folders inside of the source folder. These are stars that are targeting that. And we want to target all the files that I have extension HTML and TypeScript, like so. So this is how we are targeting all the templates inside of our application. And now we need to import the utility classes and the base classes from the Tailwind. And we do that inside of the style CSS. This is our main style. And you can just go to the documentation and basically copy paste the code from this terminal, and you can import it at the very top. here. Okay, and now let's just run our application and see if it runs correctly. If you have done everything by the documentation, it's going to run without any issues. The links to all the commands from the Git is going to be in the description box below, and also link to the Tailwind and Angular material is going to be in the description, so you can go and play around and learn a little bit about these libraries if you haven't before, because they are super awesome and they will help you to develop your applications. So now the project has been compiled successfully and we can reload. Because we have removed everything from our app component file, you can see that the project is empty. Now, the first thing that we want to do once everything has been set up correctly, we want to create our first component, and that is going to be our header component. So what we can do here, we can create a new folder, and the name of the folder is going to be components, like so. And inside of the components folder, create new file, and let's name it header, or actually even better. Now, let me show you what is the best tool of the Angular CLI. If you want to generate components, services, pipes, directives, whatever you need inside of the Angular, you can use the CLI. So here we are inside of the root folder, and we can just navigate to the source. Change directory to the source, app, components folder. Now let's generate new component. You can do that easily by running the command ng generate, G for generate, C for component, and name of the components. Let's call it header component. Actually, I'm running the PowerShell and that's not going to work, so I need to open up the git bash here. Sorry, git bash, like so. And now again, let's change directory to source, app, components, and then ng generate component header, like so. Just wait for a couple of seconds, and as you can see, it generated the component for us. Now what we can do here, we can use this component, copy paste the selector, and we can go inside of the app component, inside of the template, inside of the template, just paste the tag name, CSS selector, and as you can see, if I zoom in, you can see that it says header works. I can close the Tailwind and Angular material here. Now let's start actual developing of this application. Now we can close our app component file. We can shrink down our terminal. Okay, inside of the header component, if you want to use the external HTML file and not use the one inside of the TS file, you can create a new file. So let's just create a new file and name it header. Just remove the capital case, header.component.html. This is the naming convention that you want to follow. The first, the name of the component, .component, and then the extension. Right, so we have usually header.component.ts. Sometimes we have the CSS file, so whatever you need. And now we can remove this code, and we need to include it. We can remove the styles as well. And if you want to include the external HTML file that we just created, just type in the template URL property, and for the value of the property, just inside of the current directory, target the header.component.html, like so. And let me close all the other files, and let me just open up the HTML file. So, as you already know, this file is on the very top of our application, and on this header we want to have the link to the home, and we want to have the cart. So all the time you can see if we have added some components or actually the products to the cart. So on the very top we are going to use the mat toolbar component. So we are start using the Angular material component. So this component gives you nice component that styles similar to the card, and where you can target and where you can place your tools basically. So inside of it, let's create first the link to the home. So like I said, it's going to have the router link to the home /home, okay? And we can type in code with Slova store, or you can name it my store, or however you want to call it. Okay, and on the right side, just save that up, and we get this nice, as you can see, nice gray background here. Okay, couple of things I want to add here. So the first thing, I want to add the maximum width to our containers. So I don't want our website to take the full width of every single device, right? Because you can open it up on very large devices. So set the max width to 7XL and set the MX to auto. This means that the margin left and the right, basically horizontal, is going to be auto, and it's going to center our container. And let's add some border on the left and the right side, border X, like so. Now on the right side, we want to add the icon. So use the mat icon. Like I said, it's going to be cart icon. And the name of the icon is shopping underscore cart, like so. And as you can see, we get the icon. Now, in order to style these two, I want to actually apply some of these Tailwind styles. So I want to separate these two and place them on the edges. Just zoom out a little bit. So in order to do that, I just need to run the class justify between, like so, and they're placed on the edges of this container. In order to apply the justify between, you basically need to have the element that has the display flex rule, and the mat toolbar already has this rule set up. Now, inside of the mat icon, we want to show the count of the items that are added to the icon. How we do that is using the mat badge. So add the input property mat badge, and let's for now just add something statically. Let's add 1, and as you can see, we get this item added. So it's really easy and really fast, as you can see, to style and add components using Angular material. If you want to change the color, you can just use the mat badge color property badge, or the attribute actually, and I'm gonna use worn because this is going to add our red color to our badge. That's very nice. Cool. And now we want to add the button actually that is going to open the menu. Once we click on the shopping cart, we want to add a menu. So this button needs to surround our icon. So let me move the icon inside of the button, and this button is going to be mat icon button. So this is the component for the buttons that hold the icons, obviously. Okay, and then we want to add an attribute for the menu, mat menu trigger for, and here you define what are you triggering for. So once you click on the button, you want to trigger the menu, and this is the name of the menu. And below this we can add the mat menu. Okay, let me just get back the header component. Here below that, add mat menu, like so. And for the selector, we are using the menu here. These two needs to be the same, right? So this is how you target the menu, and add the value as mat menu. Okay. Now instead of the menu, let's add a div, and let's add some classes. Okay. So p3 divide y divide solid. Okay, so the first class adds padding on top, bottom, left, right. Divide y adds a division, so basically like a separator in between the rows inside of this div, and we want the separation to be solid. So yeah, we're gonna see once we start adding some divs here. Let's add the first row. The first row is gonna have the class also p for padding bottom 3, then flex, and justify between, like so. So basically we're adding some padding on the bottom. We are setting this div as a display flex, and we want to justify the items in between. So just to set them on the edges, right? And inside of this div, let's add a span. For this span, we're basically gonna say how many items do we have inside of our cart. So let's say 3 items, or actually we're using here 1. So let's add 1, and let's add items like so, and let's add some margin on the right side. So class margin right 16 like so, and on the right side we want to have the router link. So router link to cart. This is going to be the page that we're going to create later, the cart and the home page, and the text is view cart. Okay, let's save that. If we open, we get two items here. The one is the length, but basically the count of the items that we have inside of our cart, and the view cart. And let's make the items capital I, like so. Then add another div. Inside of this div, we're gonna have all the items. And once we start fetching the items, we're gonna loop and display everything that we fetch from the array of the items or the products. But for now, it's just gonna be static components. Let's add a div with a class flex. Again, justify between, and font light margin bottom 2. So again, we are setting the div to the flex. We want to separate the items on the edges of the container, set the font to be light, so to be very light, and the margin, add some margin on the bottom, margin bottom 2. So inside of this div, let's add item name like keyboard, and the quantity is like 1, and then on the right side we want to add the price of it. So let's add a class font bold, not italic. Actually, this shouldn't be italic as it's span, not an I. And let's add a price. We can put that inside of the Angular expression. Why? We'll see right now. So if we add like $150, although it's very expensive for a keyboard, just add a pipe currency, like so. And now if we save it, we'll see that it will add here. It adds here basically the dollar sign. The default currency is dollar, but with the parameters here, you can add different currencies. I will leave the dollar one as default. That's not a problem for me. The one thing that I want to add is I want to add some padding here. So inside of this div, actually we want to have a container here, and let's put inside of this container all the products that we have. So add a py3. So this means basically add a padding on top and the bottom, like so. So there's some separation. Now when we start looping, we can just start adding these items like so, and it will just add them below, as you can see here. And on the bottom, let's add another div. Here we're gonna show the total summary. So add a text total, and add another span. Here add a class font bold, and add like the total. Again, we can use the currency pipe, and let's say 450, and let's use the currency pipe like so. Let's save that. And I just want to add some separation. So let's add here the class. Again, let's add a flex, justify between, add some padding on top and the bottom, and let's use font light as well, like so. Okay, now we have all these things. And on the very bottom, so underneath this total div, I want to add 2 icons. So the first one is going to be to remove everything from the cart, so to clear the cart, and the second one is going to be to go to the checkout, right? So add a div, and let's add a class again, padding top 3, Again, style it as flex and justify between, like so. And inside of this, add 2 buttons. So these are going to be the buttons that. So these are going to be the buttons that are going to hold the icons. So add a class bg rows for the first one, 600. This is going to add the red color to our button. Text white rounded full. This is going to make a circle out of our button. Set the width to be 9 and the height to be 9. Okay. And inside of our button, let's add our icon. Add icon, and the first one is going to be remove underscore shopping underscore cart. Okay. And if we save, we get this remove cart, and as you can see, we added this background rows 600. This is the different color, and if you want to change the color, so basically you just choose the color that you want to add, and with these numbers you're adding the shade. So if I go and type in, for example, 300, let me show you. So it will basically show the lighter version of the roads, and if you go like 900, it will show you the darker version. I like the 600, so I will leave it as it is here. And let's copy paste this one. We want to add another icon, and this icon is actually going to be just a link. So router link, and it's going to link to the cart, and the background is going to be green instead of rows. Everything else remains the same. And yeah, rounded full means basically that we are added border radius. So if we remove the border rounded full, let me show you. It shows a square. So that's why I'm adding rounded full, and this is basically the width and the height of the button with W and H. And with that, we can complete our menu and basically our header. So now we can start actually developing our home page, our landing page. And in order to do that, let's open up our source tree, and inside of the app, let's create a new folder and name it pages, actually. Inside of the pages, we're going to use the Angular CLI here. Again, cd into, let me actually see where we are at. In the components, cd on the top directory, and let's change directory to the pages. Okay. And here we want to create new component, ng generate component, and let's call it home component. It will take for a couple of seconds, and as you can see, it creates the component, home components inside of the home folder, and it updates the app module. So if you go to the app module, as you can see here, we got the home component imported inside of this file, and it has been imported into the declarations array. So in order to use the component, if you haven't been using the standalone component, you need to import them inside of the module in order to use it. Now, inside of the app routing module, we want to add the first route. So the name of this route is going to be home, and the component that is going to be loading this is going to be the component that we just created. So its name is home component, like so. And also what we want to do is we want to add this path as default. So how we do that is we add another object, and inside of this object we add a path to empty, and we add redirect to home, and add path match to full, and make that as a string. So what this does is basically, if you enter the empty string, so if you just go to localhost, it will redirect to the home, and then the component will, home component will load this. This is how it works. So in order to load these routes, we actually need to go to the app components folder, and here we need to add the router outlet, like so. And we need to close that tag. like so. And now we have the app component loading our home component actually. So depending on the route, it loads the correct component. And as you can see, if we just type in localhost 4000, actually 4000, let me remove the extension, the protocol actually, and we get the home route added to it, and we get the homeworks. So now we can close the app routing module, we can close the app component, we can close the header component, and we can start developing our home component. So let's open up the home component, pages, home, like so. And once again, let's remove this template, as we will going to be creating the new folder, new file, template URL, external HTML file. So the name is going to be inside of the current folder, home.component.html. And we can copy this and just add new file here, or you can use this option like so and save this. Okay, now we can shrink down our terminal and let's start developing our HTML code. So here we're gonna use the mat drawer container. This is the component from Angular material, and what it does, it basically creates a drawer or a sidebar which it can pop up or stay always open, which is the case in this application. So add a property auto size to true, which means that basically it's gonna recalculate what are the values and the widths of the container elements, and if there's something loading dynamically, it's gonna auto size it again. Let's add also, we want to add a couple of more classes here. So let's add a class. Let's add the min height to be full, so to take the full height of the window. Let's add a maximum width, as we did on the same on the here on the toolbar, maximum width to be 7XL. Now let's add MX auto. So basically this means margin on the left and the right side horizontally to be auto. So it basically centers your container. Now let's add border on the left and on the right side, like so. Okay. So if we zoom out, you can see that we have this container and we have borders on the left, on the right side. Let me zoom in again. Okay. And inside of this mat drawer container, we'll have one drawer, which is basically, like I said, sidebar, mat drawer, and the mode here is going to be side. These modes can change the way how this drawer works. Yeah, you can set it to overflow the content, but if it's set to side, it means that it pushes the main content. So it's not overflowing any layout. And we want to set it always to be opened, like so. And let's just add some div here that says filters. It's going to be the categories, but it says filters. As you can see, it's always open here, so you cannot close it because we added this property. And let's add some padding to this. Padding 6, like so. That's good. Okay. Now on the right side of this mat drawer container, we're gonna have mat drawer content. So this is going to take the biggest portion of our page, mat drawer content. And I want to add some padding there as well. So add padding 6, like so. And here we're gonna create a new component, which is going to be called app products header. So inside of our pages folder, add new folder and name it components. So this folder is going to hold all the components that are inside of the home page, right? So the components inside of the app folder are components that are being shared across the entire application. And inside of the pages, we have the home, and actually we need to place this component inside of the home page, like so. Move it. And now inside of this component, let's create new components. Now let me see where we are at in our tree, in the pages. Now it's cd change directory inside of the components. Let me just see. Okay, we need to change directory to home, to components, and now let's ng generate component, and let's call it what we said, products header. This component is gonna have some elements that are going to help us to sort and to display products differently. Okay, and inside of, let me just open this component, and again let's create new file here like so, and let's call it products-header.component.html, and let's include that. Okay, here inside of the template, just add that, and let's change the property to the URL like so, and let's remove the styles here. Okay, now we need to use this selector, CSS selector, and inside of the home component, inside of the mat drawer content, let's just include that. Okay, here like so, and we can close the other components, and we can just focus on coding this part. And on this component on the left side, we will have a button that will change the sorting, ascending or descending. And on the right side, we'll have one button which will change the number of products that we display on the page. And the third element is just to change the layout of these product items. So let's begin. We will place that inside of the mat card element. And let's add some margin on the bottom. So margin bottom 4. Add another div, and let's add a class of flex and justify between. So again, on this div, we are setting this div to have the display as flex, and we're justifying elements between them. So it means that the one on the left side, we're gonna have one button, and on the other side, we'll have two menus, but they will be separated totally, and they will be on the edges of this container. Okay. Now create another div, and inside of this div, let's create a button for that menu. This button, we will have mat button argument or property, which will transform the regular button into the mat button. So, and it will have tag sort by, and let's add a dummy description, let's say. Now we want to create a menu for this button. So if I save this, you can see that we created this button. But let's create a menu. So once we click on the sort, we should get a menu, and we can change the ascending, sorting by descending or ascending. And we do that by passing the mat menu trigger 4. This is the property, and we need to pass the name of the menu, and the name is going to be sort by menu. Below this button, let's create the menu, and the menu is going to have mat menu tag. And now let's give this name that we are using to target this menu, and we need to pass the mat menu. So by the sort by menu, basically we are creating an ID. We are adding the ID to this menu, and that's how we target it and connect this mat menu with this button. Okay. And now if we save that, we should get an empty menu like so. And in this menu, we should create two buttons which will change the sorting. The first one is going to be descending, and the second one is going to be ascending. And also, let's add mat menu item property to both of these, like so. And now what we can do is we can create a sort variable which we can update. So let me just check the HTML if it renders correctly. It does, as you can see. And what we can do here is we can just create a variable and name it as sort and give it a default value to sort. And we can change this desk to the variable like so. And then we can create a new method which will update this. Okay. Property desk does not exist on the product, so because it's sort, not desk. This is the name of the property, sort by, and sort needs to have the descending the default value, not sort. Okay. And we can create new function, or actually method, on sort updated. This method is going to return the void, so it's not going to return anything, it's just going to update this variable here. So it needs to accept new sort parameter, which is type of string. And all it does is it updates the sort on this one, on this class, to new sort equals new sort, like so. Later on, we will emit this value and we will fetch the results. But for now, this is just the regular functionality. Okay, and now we need to call that method on click. So here on click, call the on sort updated method, and for the first one, send the description. Sorry, not description, descending. It's a little bit confusing. And for the second one, send the ascending, like so. And if I save this, when we select, it should change the value. And later, like I said, we will go and basically emit the new value, and we will fetch the data according to this value. So we will just sort it differently. Okay. And with that, we have completed the left sorting menu. Let's proceed with the second part. Okay, so on the right side, let's create another div. And let's add a class, flex again, and items center. This means that we want to align the items horizontally, not actually vertically. So they need to be in line with the sort by description. Everything needs to be in line. Okay. So let's add another div. And here we again want to create another menu. So let's add a button again. And this button is also going to be mat button. And again, let's add mat menu trigger. Mat menu trigger for property. And it will receive the menu. It will actually be targeted and connected with the menu. This is the ID that I was using. So mat menu, and let's add the ID of menu, and it's mat menu. I mean, this could be more descriptive, but on this component, we only have these two menus, so it should be good enough. Okay, and then here I want to add a text name show, and here we will basically show the number of items. So let's add a new variable, and let's call it items show count. Okay, and let's create that new variable here, items show count, and let's set the default value to 12. I think, yeah, let's use 12. Okay, and if I save it here, show 12. So basically show 12 items. That's what it means. Okay. And what I want to add besides that is I want to add an icon, and the name of the icon is expand more. So that indicates that actually we can open this one. Right. And that's exactly something that we missed for the first menu. So something that should indicate is sorting as well, that we want to have the expand here. Yeah, that's more like it. Okay, let me close it. And now inside of this menu, we will show different values, similar like we did for the first menu. And actually I can just copy paste this code so it's easier. So from the first menu, let's just copy the buttons, because here we will also have the buttons. And just for the first item, let's set the value to 12, and let's create a new method. This one was called onSortUpdated, and the new one is going to be called onItemsUpdated. Okay, this one also doesn't return anything, it just updates the value here. So it will receive the count, which is a number, and it will update this dot items show count to equals to count. Okay, and we can use this method now to update this to this value. So instead of onSort, we will call onItemsUpdated, and here we will pass value of 12. Okay. Here, but let's add a couple of more items. So the second one is going to be 24, and the last one is going to be 36. So if you have any other preferences on how many items would you like to show on the page, you can add them here. Let's save that up, and if we try, we can see that this updates the values like expected. So right now this is static, it doesn't change any data because we don't have any data yet, but later it will update the number of items that we have on the page. Okay, and the next thing which we want to add additional div and additional buttons where we can change the layout. Okay, so we can close this div and let's add another button, and this button is going to hold the mat icon, and this icon is going to be called a view list, like so. Here, and let's copy paste this 2 times. The second one is going to be view module, and the last one is going to be called view config. And we get these 3 icons, and right now they're static, right? But later on they will update our layout. So but we can create the method that we will use to update our layout. So let's create that. On columns updated, it receives the columns number, which is a number, and this doesn't return anything, so return type is void here. Then we want to emit this value, so we actually need to first create event emitter. So let's add output and make sure to import the output from the Angular core. This is the way how you send the data outside of your component to parent components. So create output, and let's name it columns count change, like so. And this will be new event emitter from and make sure to import it as well from Angular core. Okay, and it will send a number. So this is the number of columns we want to display in a row. Okay, and what we can do here is basically just call this dot columns count change and just emit the number that we receive from the template, like so. And now let's call this method inside of our HTML file. Here on click. So here, where we have view list, on the first one, we want to show only 1 item per row. Okay. On the second one, I want to show 3 items per row, and on the last one, I want to show 4 items per row. Oops. Here, make sure to put them inside of the parentheses. And now we can catch that value inside of our parent component, which is the header component. So here, inside of the app products header, we have new event, and that event is called, let me just check what is the exact name, columns count change. Okay. And this is the event, columns count change. And when we call that event, we can call new method on columns count change. But we need to create this method inside of our home component here. And we will need to create a new variable which we will update and use inside of our layout. We can actually remove the styles. We don't need the styles here. And let's create a new variable. So the new variable is going to hold the number of items that we have per row. So the columns that we have per row is 3. That is the default, right? That's right. And what we want to do is basically to update this. So this.calls is equal to, and we need to receive the calls number, which is a number, and this method doesn't return anything, so again it's void. And this calls basically receives this new number, right? And yeah, I think that should do it. So let's just try if this works. We can go and open up the home component, and inside of the drawer content, we can just place the variable here. And as you can see, the default value is 3. Let's see, if we click on this one, it should show 1. And if we click on this one, it should show 3. Actually 4, yeah. And on the middle one, it should show 3. Like so. This works as expected. So we can continue now and build our... Actually, we can first build our categories or the filters on the left side. Okay, so let's create another component. And let me open up the terminal again. Here. So inside of the components folder, app pages home components folder, let's create new one, ng generate component, and let's call it filters, like so. It will take a couple of seconds. Okay, so it created a new component and it updated source app module. So once again, let me show you. It adds the new component inside of the app module, so I don't have to do this manually. So this is the beauty of the Angular CLI. And inside of the components, open up the filters. So this is the new component that we just created. And again, let's remove the styles. And let's add external template URL. And we will create here new HTML file. Let's call it filters.component.html. So let me copy this name, and here in filters, create new file with the same name that we just placed inside of the component decorator. Okay, let's first create categories array. So this component will hold the list of the categories that we can use to filter our products on our website. So let's create some dummy categories. Later on, we will fetch this from the API. So let's say shoes, maybe sports, I don't know. Something that we just need something to use and to iterate through inside of our HTML file. Okay, let me close the other files so we're not confused. And then we will use another material component, and it will be called Math Expansion Panel. You'll remember this one. So this component basically, it's like a expansion panel, it says. So you will just see the name of the title of this panel, and once you click on it, it will expand and show you all the items inside of it. So this, let's show this panel only if we have the categories. So ng if categories. like so. So if the categories do exist and they're not undefined, show this. Otherwise, just hide this panel. Inside of the math expansion panel, let's add math expansion panel header. Let's remove this closing tag and let's add a new one. And inside of the header, we just want to add a title, which is math panel title. And it will be called categories, like so. Okay. Let me remove caps lock, and we'll have another math selection list. Okay, this is another math tag, selection list, and it basically shows the elements in the list. So, and it allows you to select one of the elements from the list. And we want to be able only to select one item, so that's why we need to pass the multiple input false attribute. So if we click on true here for the multiple, we can select multiple items inside of this math selection list. Okay, and here we have math list options, like so, and we want to loop through the categories array that we just created. So create ng4 and call that category of categories. Okay, and set the value to be a category, like so. And inside of this option, we want to display a button, and just place the category here, like so. If we save it, actually, there's one problem with this, because we haven't included this component inside of our sidebar. So that's the problem. Now take the selector and go inside of the home component HTML file, and instead of these filters, you need to place this component. Okay, now we will see it. Okay, there you go. And if you click on the categories, it expands and you get the shoes and the sports. Okay, now we want to emit this value. So once you click on the shoes, on the sports, as you can see, you only select one of the items. And we will have more items here, more categories. But once you select on the item, we want to emit this value to the parent component, and we can use the data to fetch the categories, right? So let's do that. Inside of the template, here, we can create new method. And let's call it onShowCategory. onShowCategory. This one will return nothing, so return void, and it will receive the category, which is just a string. And this string needs to emit this value. So let's create new one. And let me import the output from Angular core, like so. And let's name it showCategory, okay? Which is a new event emitter. Okay? And this one will receive the string. Actually, with emit the string. Let me close the folder so you can see it. It will emit the string. And let's import event emitter from Angular core as well. And now, when we call this method and when we pass the category, we can emit this value. So let's call this.showCategory.emit and pass the category. Okay. And let's call this method inside of our HTML component. Here inside of our button, let's call onClick event, call our method, and pass the category. Okay, now we can test this again. The event name is the show category. So here inside of our home component, we can call this method show category, and we can create new method. That method can be called onShowCategory. and just pass the value. I usually pass the value from the child events as event. This is the parameter. Okay. And inside of the TS class, let's add this method. This method again is not returning anything, so it returns void, and it needs to have one parameter, which is the category, and let's call it new category. Category like so, and it will be the string value. Now we need to add the new property, so let's call it category and let it be value string and undefined. So it can be, when you don't define it initially, it needs to take either of these two values. So if you initialize it right away, it can be just string, but if you leave it undefined, you need to add these values were undefined. Okay, so here we call this dot category and we assigned it new category value, and we can just use this value to test it inside of our home component. The same way how we are testing the columns, let's test category, and once we click on one of these elements, we should see these values inside of our component. Shoes, sports, it works as expected. Now the next thing which I want to create on the home page, I want to display the product boxes here, and that should do it. After that, we should fetch the actual data and display it. So let's just to sum up what we created here. We created this cart menu, and actually I see that we are using the two same icons, so that needs to be fixed. This one is for removal of the carts, and this one is actually for proceeding to the checkout. So open the products header, and inside of the products header, no, actually it's not inside of the products header, it's actually in the header component. So inside of the components folder, source app headers, we have here components, we have here the icons, and one is remove shopping cart and the other one is also remove shopping cart. So it needs to be just shopping cart. Let's test it. Yeah, so this one should route us to the cart, as you can see here, and not to remove the shopping cart. Yeah, okay, so we fixed that bug. So just to sum up, we created this header with this home route link. We created this cart which shows the items. You can go on and view the cart, you can remove everything from the cart, and you can proceed to the checkout. And actually this is all static, it just needs to be implemented. We added this sort menu, we added this show number of items menu, we added this layout buttons, and we added the categories on the left side. Now, like I said, just add the products on the middle, and let's proceed to the next page. And now in the home component HTML file, let's remove this category variable, and we'll add a wrapper to our product box component. So I'm gonna use mat_grid_list component, and this component basically is a grid. So you just pass a tile child component and it separates them into columns and rows. That's all it does. So we want to set the gutter size, which is actually the margin in between these elements. So gutter size to 16. So it's 16 pixels. For number of columns, we want to change this dynamically depending on the buttons that we click here. On the first one, we want to have the column number 1 per row, in the middle 3 per row, and the right one 4 per row. But as we created this this variable dynamically already, so we'll just pass the columns this variable. And for the row height, we also want to have this dynamically updated. So let's create a new variable named row height. And let me go to the home.ts file. And here we have columns that are being 3 at the moment, but we are updating the columns here. So for the row height, let's just create a new object that we can use to map the heights. So create a constant named rows underscore height, and this will be an object, and this object will have 3 values. So the first value is obviously when you have one column selected. or 1 item per row, and it will have height of 400, right? Then the second value is when we have 3 items per row, and this one will have height of 335. And the last one is when we have 4 items per row, it will have height of 350. And let's assign the type. So the type is an object basically, and the object has an ID number. This is a key, and it has value as number. Okay. Just set up the view wrap, word wrap, so that you can see. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to set the row height depending on these columns here. So we can use this constant and just call this dot calls. And as default one is 3, so we will have 3 columns as default. The default height is going to be 335. But once we update the on-column count change, we want to update this value as well. So we will basically call this assignment again and make sure to use the this to refer to this variable here. So this way we are getting updated the row height dynamically as well here. Okay, and inside of our math grid list, we want to add another math component, which is a child of math grid list, and that is math grid tile. Okay, and we will use this one till loop through the products array once we fetch them. And now we want to create new components. So let me open up the terminal here and change directory inside of the source, app, pages, home pages, and components. And inside of this folder, let's create ng generate component, and the name of the component, let it be product box. So this one will hold all the informations for the products, an image, title, description, all these things that we want to display about the products. So as you can see, it created a new product box component, and it updated app.module.ts file. Okay, let me close that down, and we can go into components folder and open up the product box folder here. What I want to do, same as with the other components, let me just remove this boilerplate, and we want to create new components, HTML file. So product dash box that component dot HTML. Okay, and let's include this external HTML file. So template URL is name of the property, and make sure to refer to the current directory like so. Okay, and we can close that. Now we can include this component, so make sure to use the selector and include the selector inside of the home component in the math grid tile. Okay, here we can close the home component, and we can open up the product HTML file, and let's close the others so that they are not confusing us. Okay, so here again we're gonna have, let me just enlarge the browser, and we will have math card as the wrapper again, obviously. Let's add some class. So we want to add text center to the math card because I want everything to be centered, the title, the description, and all this information. Okay, so let's add another div, and inside of this div, let's add an image. Okay, this image is gonna have a class mb-1, which means margin bottom 1, and mx auto, which basically adds an auto margin on the left and the right side and centers the image. Okay, for the source, okay, and for the source we can use placeholder images. There's a great website for it, and just type in the source like so, https://via.placeholder.com/ and this is the actual size of the image that you want to put in. I just put it like 150, but you can put whatever size do you want, you know. So, and you basically get like a square, and you get the values of the image inside of it. It's very useful if you want just have the placeholders while you're developing something. Okay, and let's add height to be 200 pixels. Okay, and this is how to add a custom height to your properties. H stands for height, and this way inside of the brackets you can add a custom value. This is predefined value, and this is the custom value. Okay, let's save that. And this changes the image size. Okay. Now next to the image, let's add another div. And inside of this div, we're gonna add information about the product itself. So let's add a class and set the width to full. So this basically sets the width to 200%. Okay. And inside of this div, let's add another div. In here, let's add category of this product. So let's name it shoes, maybe. Okay. Then let's add a paragraph below that. Okay. And let's add a class truncate. Okay. And hover white space dash normal. Okay, what this does is basically if you have a text that is longer than this box, it cuts off the text and adds 3 dots. And when you hover over that text, it shows you entire text just on hover. It's very useful when you have long titles, you know. So let's add a title here like sneakers maybe. Okay, let me just change the view to be wrap like so. And that looks nice. And now let's add another div here, actually the description. So let's add a paragraph here, and for the description let's just add dummy text description, and we will update that later on. Okay. Actually I see that text is not centered, and that's why the reason for that is because we miss here the text, the T on the end. Okay, that's more like it. And now below this div, okay, we want to add another div, and let's add a class flex and justify. So here at the bottom I want to display the price, and I want to display here proceed to the checkout, basically or actually to add to the cart. So cart icon, so that we can add this item to the cart. Yeah. So add a span here, and let's add, we use the class text red 400, and let's use the currency pipe again to display the value of the price. Let's use 150 and just use the pipe currency like so, and it displays the currency in correct format. And on the right side I want to add a button, and inside of this button let's add a matte icon. Matte icon, okay, like so. And let's add icon as shopping underscore cart. Okay. And let's just change the color of this icon class and set it to text dash gray dash 500. Okay, that's much more subtle. Okay, I think this looks very nice. So the one thing that I want to change here is basically depending on what is the layout selected, we want to change this layout on our product box a little bit. So when we are in full screen mode, basically when we only have one column, like in this case, one column per row, we want to show the image on the left side, and we want to change the description, the title, and all this information on the right side here, so that it takes more space actually, right? And that the image is bigger. So how we can do that is we can create an input here, which we will receive from the parent component. And let's call that here. So import input from Angular core, make sure to import it on top here, initialize it, and add a name full width mode. And let's add a default value false, because when we load our application, we will have 3 product boxes per row. So it's not going to be in the full width mode, but only if somebody clicks on this first icon, it's going to be 1 product box per row, and then we are in full width mode. Okay, and now we can use this property to alter the sum of the styles that we have. Okay, and actually before we do that, let's go to the home component, and we can set this property on the product box so it's in full width mode only if columns is equal to 1. Okay. Okay, we close that. So if you go now and click like so, you can see that actually this column is taking the entire place, right? But it's not taking the full width. So let me go back to the home component and set here the width, set the class width full. So it needs to take the full width of this entire container, like so. But the layout is different, so we want to change that. Okay. Okay, so here, the first thing that I want to do is I want to center the text only if we are not in the full width mode. So here we can use ng class to create this conditional, right? And here I will add an object, basically an object, and inside of the object add text center class only if you are not in full width mode, like so. And I will copy this, so because we are going to use this quite some time. And also I want to change the height of this image. So where is our image? It's here. So let's add again ng class, and let's add basically add an object, and let's add a height of 200 pixels only if we are not in full height. So basically if we are in default mode. Otherwise, increase the height to use the 360 pixels. Actually, okay, like so. And make sure to wrap that in the quotes here as well, because this is the index of the object. And 360 if it's in full width mode. And I want to, yeah, put the quotes like so. So let's try this. Okay, now switch to the full width mode, and you can see that the text is centered actually on the left side. Actually, it's not centered, it's aligned on the left side, and the image size is bigger. And if we switch back to the default layout, it's going back. Okay, the different layout we want to achieve, and still, but we want to move the image on the left side and this description on the right side. So how we can do that is we want to add, for this div, we want to add property flex. So let's add again ng class, and let's add flex if it's in full width mode. Okay, like so, and you can see now it's in full width mode basically. On the left side we have this and description on the right side, but we still need some more styling because it doesn't look that great either. So we can go and add some padding and the other properties. So here let's add ng class. Okay, and let's add some padding left and on the right side, and let's add a flex and flex direction to column and justify between. Okay. Okay, like so. Let me just make sure to to apply this rule if you are in full width mode, and make sure to surround these classes with the quotes and that your spelling is correctly. So what we're doing here is we're setting this div to the flex mode, or basically display flex, and the flex direction is 2 columns. It's not for rows, and we are just basically justifying in between. If I save it and test it, okay, that looks much better. It has some space around it, much better. And I think basically we're done, except the fact that I want to display this description only if we are in full width mode. So go ng if, this is going to be easy, only if in full width mode. So when we are on default, we don't show the description, and when we switch on the full width mode, we show the description. Yeah. Okay. And that's all I wanted to do. Now let's test the layout and how it looks. If we go to the home page and let's copy paste this math grid tile a couple of times. Going to just copy it like so. Okay, let me just copy it. I lost focus for like 5 or 6 times, like so. And let's see what we get. Okay, so as you can see, this is the default layout where we have 3 items per row, and if you click on the first one, on this layout we get 1 item per row, and we can click on the third one, we get the 4 items per row, and this looks and works as expected. With this, we basically have completed the home page, so we created everything which is static here, but the only thing that I want to do here now is I want to implement the API. Apart from this page, we'll have a cart page, and actually we can first go and create cart page, because maybe we should start first with implementing all the static files first, and then we can dig into developing and integrating the API into it. So let's do that first. Let's create another page. Okay, so let me close all these files and let me open the terminal. Let me see where we are at in the directory, and let's change directory to the pages. So cd a couple of times, and now we're in the pages directory. Here we want to create new cart components, or actually new page component. So run the command ng generate component and call it cart. Okay. It will take a couple of seconds to generate it, like so. And once again, we can close everything, and we have this cart component. So what we want to do here is we want to set the routes. We want to set new route in order to load this page. So let's just copy paste this first route and change the path to be cart. The component that is going to load this is going to be cart component. Make sure that the cart component is imported at the very top here. Okay, and close that. We can close the terminal as well. And now let's open up the cart component and let's test it out, this route. So if we click on and now navigate to the cart, we get this cart works, which is actual HTML text here, right? So once again, remove the styles and let's give an external HTML file. Okay. So template URL, and make sure to navigate to the current directory, and we'll call it cart.component.html. Okay. And let's create that file like so. Okay, on this component, we're going to create basically a material table, and we're going to display all the information before the user goes and buys the product. So we need to create, at the moment, we don't have the real data, and we don't have the functionality working for the cart itself. So we need to create a dummy cart object, and let's do that. So we'll have a cart, which is going to be the cart of type. And we don't have this type yet, but it will receive the items array. So let's create new folder inside of the application, and let's call it models. make sure that it's inside of the app component, not inside of the pages. And here we can create new file for the cart. So basically in this folder, we will create definition for our interfaces and create new file and name it cart.model.ts. Okay. And the first thing that I want to create is export interface. We just shrink this down. Interface cart item. Okay. And this cart item is going to have a couple of properties. So product is going to be type of string. Name is going to be type of string as well. Price is going to be type of number. Quantity is going to be type of number. And the ID of the cart item is going to be number as well. So here we are making the definition of our data that we are going to receive and pass through the application. And we're going to export interface cart. This is the one that we just used in our cart component. And this one is going to have the items array. So it's basically an array of cart item that we just created here. Okay. And with this, we have created definition for our cart. Okay, so we can import that here. Add import from source app models cart.model. Okay, like so. You can save it. And now let's actually create some dummy object. You can just copy. You can copy the object definition from here. So it's easier. For the product, let's just say shoes, or actually the product is going to take the image of the product. So let's just copy the placeholder that we used before here. Okay. The name is going to be sneakers. Price 150. I'm making this up, so quantity 1. Okay, make sure that you format the subject correctly, and for the ID, let's set the ID to 1 as well. Okay, like so. So we have now default object. Okay. And what we want to do next is we want to add a property that we will use inside of our table. So that property is called data source. And this property is going to receive the cart item array, like so, and make sure to define it as array. Okay, and let's assign it to empty array at the beginning, right? And we can assign inside of the ng on it, this data source is equal to this.cart.items. Okay, but once we hook up the API, we will fetch the data and then we will feed this data source from there. Okay, the last thing that I want to add here is I want to add the columns. So displayed columns, displayed columns. Okay, and this is going to be type string array. Well, like so, and let's just create this array. Okay, so these are the columns that we are going to show in the table. So we will show the product, name, second one. I mean, I could copy paste, but yeah, this will work as well. Price. The next one is quantity. Okay, the quantity. The next one is going to be total. This is the total amount that the user needs to pay, and the action column. In this column, we're going to display a couple of buttons. So if user wants to remove the product from the table, from the cart actually. Okay, let's save this and let's open up the cart. So now we can start creating our table. Again, you already know we're going to use math card for a wrapper, and we will only display this ng if the cart.items.length is existent. So basically, only if we have the length of the cart items. Otherwise, we want to show a message to the user. So let's copy paste this. that user needs to buy something in order to get displayed to this product, right? So what we can create here is you can add a paragraph that says your cart is empty, and let's add a button where you can navigate back to the home, start shopping, and let's add a mat raised button. So basically we are assigning raised button, so class to it, and add router link so that they can navigate to the home where they can see the products. So let's change the layout to word wrap so you can see everything. And if I save this, for now, as you can see, the cart items length is empty, and it basically it shows both of these cards because we use where the cart item length exists. We want to show this only if there is no cart item length. And how we can test it is basically we can just remove this first item that we have inside of this array, and we should get this, and we get redirected here. How we can get back is we should click on view cart because we assigned the cart route here. Okay, let's give back this product to the items array, and we should see our cart, which is empty because we haven't created anything yet there. So let's start creating our table. Okay, so let me shrink this, and here on top let's create table. Let's add a property mat table like so, and data source, here we will pass the data source that we created like so, and let's add some classes. So let's add a class mat elevation Z8. This is going to add you need to make sure that you spell correctly, otherwise it's not going to be applied. Elevation. This is going to add some shadow on below the table, yeah, and set the width to full. Also, I want to add a container to our mat card, so I can add a class, actually the maximum width of our container. So add a maximum width to 7XL. This is the same as we did on the home page, and let's center it, so use the MX auto. And this is something which we can use for the bottom mat card as well here. So if we go and check out here, if you enlarge, actually you cannot see it because it's big, but here you can see it when it's on 100%. Basically it's not taking the full width of the window, it has the maximum width. Okay, like so. Okay, and now inside of the table, let's add the first column, or actually we can first add the rows. So we'll have actually three types of rows. First one is the header, the second one is the regular row, and then the last one is the footer. So table row here, and the first one is going to be for mat header row. Like I said, this is for the table headers, and it also needs to have mat header row definition. So mat header row definition, and this one is going to be the display columns that we created here. Okay, I have a typo, columns, like so, columns here, and make sure to add the to mat header row definition here. Okay, let's create another one. So the next one is going to be for the regular table row. So mat row, and again we need to have mat row definition, and here we're gonna loop through the items. So what we're gonna do is we define let row, and basically columns are going to get information from display columns here. Okay, and the last one is table footer. So again, mat footer row, and we also want to give it a definition, mat footer row definition is equal to displayed columns. So these are the placeholders in which we are going to render our table data, right? So table cells actually. So this is what you want to create first. And now you can go and create these columns. So let's create engine container, like so. And the first one is going to be product. So mat column which stands for definition. It's going to be product. This is the key that you're accessing the data source. So it needs to match these columns basically from the items itself. So if you want to display a particular property from the object, you would use this mat column definition here. Now you can access that. So let's add a table header for this one, and let's add a definition to it. So mat header cell. This is important in order to add all the functionalities that mat's table has. So when you add this property to it, it can add additional like sorting or filtering, all these things that material table has. So that's why you're adding it. And you want to pass mat header cell definition. Okay, and for the title, we're gonna say this is going to be product. And now let's create a table, the actual table cell. And for the table cell, we need to pass the mat cell, and again mat cell definition, and we will define what is the name of the element, and we'll just call it element. And this is how we access the property from the object with this variable that we define in the mat cell definition. Okay, so we can open the image attribute, element, sorry, and the source is going to be element.product. So this is the product property here. So we will access this one, this URL, element.product. Okay, and make sure to surround that with curly braces so that you are inside of the Angular expression. Let's add an alt as product, and let's add some classes. Class, make it width to be 100 pixels. Okay, let's close that bracket, and let's add some margin on the top and the bottom to 5 pixels. Okay, and let's create a footer cell. So td, let's add again mat footer cell. Okay, let's add a definition for this footer, mat footer cell definition, and you can leave this empty. You don't have to assign anything to it. So in the footer, we want to display a button here, which will say continue shopping basically. Mat is going to be the same button. We can just copy paste it from this one, but we will update the text to continue shopping instead of start shopping. Okay, continue shopping, like so. Let's save this and see what we get. Okay, we don't get anything displayed in our table. Let me just check the console. Okay, I have some error, so let's debug it together. And the reason why we are getting this error is because, as you can see here, we defined displayed columns and we are defining name. So it reports the name error because the product has been found here. We have the mat column definition product, right? But we are missing the name. So if we go and remove these products here, these columns, and just comment them out, we should get the first column, right? To make the table work as we expected. But as you can see, the first column has the table header here, product. It has the table cell with the image here, and at the bottom on the footer it has a button that says continue shopping, like so. So let's uncomment these others and let's add them. Okay, Now let's just copy paste this container. And for the second one, the definition of the column is name. The title of this one is going to be name, obviously. Instead of the image, we want to just display the element dot name. Okay, and what we can do here, we can just copy paste this one a couple of more times. Actually, for the bottom, I don't want to display the continue button again, so let me remove this button. So for the footer cell, this is going to be an empty, right? And for this one as well, I want to apply some styles, because some names of particular products could be very large, very long actually. So let's apply one class so that we can actually truncate the width of the title. So let's add the truncate, and the maximum width is XS. So we are setting here the maximum width of this element, and if it's longer than this maximum width, it will just cut it off and show the dots. That's what I wanted to display. Now I can copy this and paste it. So the next one that we need is price. Okay, so the title, the column definition is price. The title is price as well. And here, instead of the paragraph, I mean, we can use the paragraph, but let's just add the property price, and let's use the currency pipe as well. Or we can even remove the paragraph, because we don't need to apply any styles whatsoever. Okay, and let's copy it again. The next one is quantity. Let me copy that. So the math column definition is quantity. The title is also quantity with upper first case, and the property is quantity, but we want to remove this currency pipe here. Okay, let me copy this one and paste it. The next one is total. Okay, so the math column definition is total. The title is total as well, and here as well for the total, we just want to add element.total like so. And on the footer, we actually want to display, because we will have on each row the total amount of the prices, and on the very bottom we want to display the total grand total amount. So let's just add here, let's just add new span. Here let's add some class font dash bold, so make it bold, add some padding 5, and let's set the display to block in order to apply this padding, and so we need to set this block. And we'll create new method get total, and we'll pass the cart dot items, and again we will use the currency pipe. Make sure to wrap that inside of the angular bracket, so it's inside of the expression. Okay, and let's define this get total method inside of our cart component. So here, so this method is going to return number, and it receives an items, which are type of cart item array. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to go and map items dot map, and here we can access the item. And what we want to do is we want to take the item price and multiply that with item dot quantity. So here what we are doing basically is we are going looping through the items, and we're taking the item price and the quantity that it has. And then we want to add all of that. So we can use the reduce. And inside of the reduce, we always have the previous value and the current value. So, and all we are doing here is basically taking the previous value and adding the current value on. And we need to set the initial value here, which will be the 0. Okay. And it shows the error here because we are not returning the number. So we will need to add return in order to satisfy this rule. Okay, like so. And now we created this method. Let me just indent it a little bit so it's not in the same line. Okay. And so using this method, we are getting the total price for entire cart, basically, not just per product and row, but for the entire cart. Yes. Okay, let me see. That was the total, and the last one is the action. Okay, so let's actually copy paste the previous column, and let's copy paste the definition. So it's action. For the title, we don't want to add the title actually, but we want to add a button here. So let's add a button, and we will use this button to clear entire cart, clear all. So to style it, let's add matte raised button. So this transforms the regular button into matte button. And let's add a color worn so that it's actually red. Color worn, and let's add a class float right. Okay, so let's save that. Let's save this one. And we get our table, as you can see here. What I wanted to add apart from the buttons on top, I want to add buttons per row as well here. So let me just find that. So here, instead of the element, the total, okay, I can remove that. And here on the bottom, I can remove the total as well here. And here we want to add an icon. So basically inside of the button, and let's add a class of matte mini fab. Okay, this will give us like a small button with the rounded styling. Okay, matte, and let's add a color worn, so it's red, and let's add a class float right, like so. And the name of the icon is close. Okay, so we get actually, yeah, it's the name of the icon, but we need to import the matte icon element and just name it as close. And we get this button nice and styled. Okay, and if we go and just let me try and copy paste this product once again, like so, and change the ID to 2, for example, we will get 2 items per row, and we can remove, you know, each and one of them. Okay. One thing I'm noticing here actually is that we are missing the total values here. So these need to be total values per row. So if you have quantity like 2 or 3 or 5, and this is the total value that we're getting. So if we go to the total column, actually can see that we are using element total, and that's something that we don't have. So what we want to do here is element dot quantity, like here, times element dot price, and let's format that in the currency pipe as well. Okay, and let's wrap it to the parentheses, like so. And now let's test it. And as you can see, we get the values. And what if we go and change the quantity? Let's say for the second product, we have 3 items this one, and we get 450. The first one is 150, quantity is 3, and now the total price is getting updated. But ideally, to increase the quantity, we want to do that here. So let's add a couple buttons so that user is able to update the quantity if he wants. So let's wrap the spam with the quantity, and let's add a couple buttons here. So let's add a button for removal of for reducing the quantity, and let's style it with mat icon button, like so. And let's add mat icon inside of it, and the name will be remove. Okay, like so, so that user can remove. And let's add another one afterwards, and let's call this one add. And actually this is the actual name of it. It's not that we are calling it like that. So it's the actual name of the button. Okay. And you can see that this sneakers is not actually aligned with all of these elements. And the reason for that is that we are using the paragraph. So, and it adds some margin on the bottom. What we can do is we can change this into span. Here, span, and it gets aligned. And make sure to add, and actually we can test this. So let's see if it works or not. So let's add some gibberish long text and see if it gets cut off. As you can see, it doesn't work. The reason for that is we need to set the property block to it, and now it works because the span by default is not a block element. So okay, it doesn't work. Okay, let's just remove this gibberish text and let's add the element name, and don't forget to add the block, display block property. Okay, the last thing that I forgot to add here, I think this looks nice. The only thing that is missing is we want the actual button to go and to, you know, do the actual shopping, right? So to proceed to the checkout. So let's find the actions here, actions column, and for the footer, let's add the button for that. So let's add a button, and this button will say proceed to the checkout. Okay, it's gonna be mat raised button, and it's gonna say proceed to checkout. You can make this one color, set the color to be primary so that stands out, and let's float it to right. So let's add a class float right. Okay, let's go back to cart, and here we have the proceed to checkout. Okay, instead of implementing the API first, I think that it makes much more sense to first implement the logic of the cart. And when I say the cart, I mean, let me just enlarge this. And when I say cart, I mean by adding and removing the items from the cart, right? And reading them on different places. For example, if you want to read the items from the cart here on the menu, and we want to read them here as well on this cart page. So let's implement that. Okay. Let me actually minimize this entirely, and we can focus more on coding here. So what I want to open here is I want to open the home page, and on the home page we have product box here, and I want to add a new event basically. So on this button, which is basically this shopping cart here, I want to add this product information to the new service that we will create just in a bit. Okay, so let's add a click on click event. Let's call on add to cart. Okay, and now let's create this method. So let me close all the other files. Let's open the TypeScript file here, and let's add this method. So this method is not going to be returning anything. So the return type is void. And we're also not passing anything. So what this method does, it's going to emit the product that we are going to get from the input. But for now, as we are not getting, as we don't have anything, we are not fetching the actual data. Let's create this product as a dummy data. And the type of this product is going to be product. But as we don't have this product interface created yet, let's do that. So inside of the models, create new file and name it product.model.ts, like so. Okay, and now let's create new interface. Export interface product, and this interface is going to have ID, which is type of number, title, which is type of string, price, which is type of number, category, which is type of string, description, which is type of string as well, and the image, which is type of string. So these are all the properties of the product that we're going to use. And we're exporting this. Make sure so that you're able to import it into files that you need. So here we can just go and import it on top. So import product, make sure that it's imported. And now let's, it can be actually product or undefined. Because once when we implement the API, we will pass this through the input, same thing as we are doing here with the full width mode. And while it's fetching the data, this product can be undefined for a little bit of time, right? But now let's create an array, which is a dummy data, and we can just copy from this product the object definition, so it's easier to create this object. Number, let's add 1. Title, what we can create, we can create sneakers. Price 150. By the way, I'm not sure if the spelling of sneakers is correct, so sorry about that if it's not. Category, shoes. Description, I'll just put the description word. And for the image, again, we can use the one that we are using here, placeholder. Okay, so instead of this string, let's put this placeholder, and like so. Okay, now what we can do is we can go and use this product to emit. But in order to emit this product, we need to create event emitter. So let's add an output. Again, this is the way how you communicate with the child and the parent component. Okay, output, and we will give an event name to add to cart, which is a new event emitter. Okay, and make sure that you import both of the output and event emitter on top here from Angular core. And what we can do, we can call this dot add to cart and emit our product, this dot product. So it basically means that somebody clicked on this shopping cart and he wants to add this product to the shopping cart. Yes. So now we need to catch this method inside of our home component. So let's go to let's close these components, and inside of the home component, let's scroll to the product box. Actually, we can remove these ones and we will create dynamic ones later on. So from the app product box, okay, we have new event. And let me set the view to word wrap as well here so that you can see all the classes, okay, and the attributes. Okay, so we will get an event which is called add to cart, and we want to create new method here on add to cart. And for all the events that I'm passing from the child, I'm using the same attribute name, which is called event. That's just naming convention that I like to follow, but you don't have to, obviously. Now let's create this method. Now it will throw an error because we don't have this method created yet. So on add to cart, And this method is going to return nothing, so the return type is void. And we want to create a new basically service that we're going to be using, where we can store the actual data. So let's do that. Inside of the app folder, let's create new folder and call it services. Okay. And actually, let me just comment out this add to cart because it's throwing us an error and it looks like we are doing something wrong. I don't like to see errors. Okay, let me open up the terminal and let me see where we are at. So we are at the pages, so cd on the upper directory and change into services. Okay, and here we want to, let me just clear the console, and here we want to generate ng, G for generate, service, so S is for service, and the name of the service is going to be cart service. Okay, let's take just a couple of seconds to create this service. Okay, so it created this cart service, but you can see it hasn't updated the app module, so we will need manually to import this service. So if we go to the services, we have the cart service, and what we want to do is we want to go to app.module and we want to inject our service in the providers array here, and make sure to import from the cart service here, so that we can use it, and it's imported here on the top. Okay, I can close the terminal and save this up, close the module. And now we can import this service, or actually we can first define all the things that we want and that we need inside of this service. So service is going to hold one property that will be used across our application. So it will be named cart, obviously, and it's going to be new behavior subject here, and you need to import it from RxJS. Okay, and the type of this behavior subject is going to be cart. So the cart model that we defined in the models cart.model. Okay, and we need to set the default value, which is going to be object with empty array of items, like so. So how do we use this cart behavior subject? It's basically it holds the initial value, and once we update, for example, we add new products to the cart, it just adds new values to this items array. And in every single component that we want inside of our application, we can subscribe to this behavior subject, and we can receive the new values and update the UI. That's how it works. Okay, so in this cart service, we want to add snack bar component. So we will use private underscore snack bar, and the type of this service is called mat snack bar, like so. So make sure to import it as well here on the top. And what this component or service actually does, it displays the information to the user. So once we add the product to the cart, we want to display the information that we have successfully added this product, right? So now let's add a method add to cart. This is the method that I was talking about. So this method is not going to be returning anything. So the type is going to be void, because we're just going to update this cart object, and we're going to emit. But we're going to have an item received, and the type of the item is going to be cart item. Okay, and make sure again to import it on the top. So now we're going to create a new items array, and this is going to be, because we don't want to affect this default, this original cart object. So we can destructure that object and create new array, and we can just go reference to this.cart.value. We're accessing this behavior subject with the value dot items. Okay, like so here. And now we can find the actual item, because when we're adding items inside of this cart, we could be adding the same product multiple times. So we just want to increase the quantity. And if there is no such product inside of the cart, we just want to add it, right? So let's do that. So let's define const items in cart. So we are trying to find if there's this item already added in the cart. So items dot find, and here we have an item, and we're just gonna check if the item.id is equal to the item that we passed here as argument .id. So if this find method finds an item, it means that this is not going to be null or undefined. So we can check here if it exists. If it already exists in the cart, we just want to increase the quantity. So let's just item, or actually this is not multiple. This should be a singular item in cart. So if item in cart is there, just increase the quantity by 1. Let's use the shorthand plus equals 1. Otherwise, we want to push this to the items array. So otherwise, we want to use the items dot push this item. Okay. So otherwise, we are pushing this new item to this items array. And what we want to do at this very end, this dot cart, we just want to emit this value so that every single component that is subscribed to the cart can catch that value. So this dot cart dot next, and we can emit the object with items. So basically, this is exactly the same as writing items dot items, but the shorthand is just to remove the key and the value, and you get the same. Now what we want to do is we want to open up the snack bar, this dot underscore snack bar. This is that service that displays the users the information, so it's very useful. And we can, for the first argument, we want to pass the text, one item added to cart. And as second argument, you want to pass the text that you want to show in the button. So let's say OK. And the third argument is object. And we can set the duration of this pop-up of this snack bar. So after this amount of milliseconds, it's gonna close. So let's set it to 3000, which means 3 seconds. It's gonna stand there for 3 seconds. Okay. And now let's just console.log this.cart.value. Okay, so that we can see in the log what we're updating. And here inside of the home component, we can inject the service that we just created. Okay, so go to private cart service and import the cart service. Okay, so it's imported on the top from source app services cart.service. And now we can use this service. Okay, so here on add to cart, we are actually receiving the value here from this event from app product box. Okay, and this parameter is product, and the type of this is product interface that we created as well here. It's imported on the top in the models, product model. Now what we want to do is we want just to call this.service, cart service dot on add to cart, and we want to pass an object. Okay, so the product is different from the cart item, so we want to send different parameters or actual properties. So the product is product dot image. The name is product dot title, and this is the beauty of the TypeScript. You get all the properties, show it to you, so you don't have to think about them. The price is product dot price. Quantity is going to be 1 because we are just adding one item, and the ID is going to be product ID dot ID. Okay, and if you're wondering why the naming convention of this interfaces is like this, is I'm mapping the API that I'm going to be using and that we are going to be using in this tutorial uses these exact name fields. So this is how I created this object, so that they match the API data contracts. So that's the reason for it. Okay, so now let's go and save this home component. Let's save the HTML file, and let's try to add an item to the array. So if I go and inspect, we should see the value of the cart. Okay, let me clear the console and enlarge so you can see it. If I click on one item has been added to the cart, and we can close OK, or actually close this after 3 seconds, and we get log from the cart service. If I expand the items, we can see that inside of the items array, we get now one product, and we get all the information that we passed. Now let's test. If we click again, we should get still one item, but it should increase the quantity to 2. Okay, let's try that. So let's click again, one item added to the cart, okay. And let's see, we again get the same log from the cart service, and if we expand it, we can see that the quantity has been increased to 2. So this works as expected. Okay, the next thing which I wanted to do here is I want the actual cart menu to be updated, because as you can see, we added 2 products, but still it says here 1, and we want to make this dynamic and to loop through all of these items and to show the actual price here. So let's do that. So where we can handle all of this is in the cart component. So let me close all these files, and let's open up the header components in the app folder, and let's open up the headers here. And what we are going to have in this component is we're going to have cart, which is going to be subscribed in the home component and passed in this header component. So I'll have private underscore cart, which is type of cart, and let's initialize the default values. So it's going to have the items property, which is going to be an empty array at the beginning, and make sure to import the cart. The another thing that we need is the items quantity. As you can see right now, we are displaying this static 1 value, but we want to update that based on the number of items and the quantity of those items in the cart itself. Engine is not going to be used in this component, so we can actually remove it if you want to do a little bit of cleanup. And here we want to receive the actual cart, so we will have an input. Let's initialize it. So make sure to import the input, and we will create a getter and setter. That's why I'm using the underscore the cart, because this is the naming convention that usually programmers do. When you have underscore cart, it means that this is the private field. Okay, so we will set here the getter. So getter cart, which is type of cart, and we'll just return this underscore cart here. So this is the getter, and now let's set the setter. So set cart, we'll receive the cart, which is type of cart, and here we will set this cart equals to the cart. And also, every time that cart changes, we want to update this item quantity. We don't have a field for items quantity, so we need to actually create this logic. So what we can do is we can use this item quantity, and we can loop through the cart items. Cart items, and what we can do is first we get the object with different fields, but we only need the quantity here. So what we need to do, we need to map our item and only get the array with the quantities. So item dot quantity. So what we are doing here is basically using this cart items array, and instead of the objects, we are transforming that to only have the quantity, and then we can use that quantity to add up and get the final items quantity. So we can use reduce to do so, and again reduce uses the previous and the current values as argument, and you need to set the initial value, which is 0 in this case, and all we do is we use and add the previous value with the current value, and we get the final quantity. So again, we use the items array, which is basically array of cart item objects, and we transform that into array of only quantities, and then we just add them up, right? And that's how we update the items quantity. Okay, and now what we can do is we can go to our HTML file, and we can update. Let me see, where is our Okay, so here we have actually 1 items, and we can update this value to be the quantity items. We just copy the property name, items quantity, like so. And for the mat badge here, we can also add this value, so it's dynamic. Okay, so at the beginning is going to be always 0, and we want to check if it's 0, we don't want to display it, so set the mat badge. We can use this property for that mat badge, hidden equals if there is no items quantity, so it should hide it. Okay, let me just see. Okay, I have a typo here. I have uppercase I, so let's try again, and as you can see, it removed this icon. Okay, what we can do here is we can check if if we have items in the cart, then we want to display this part. If we don't want to. So let's add ng if. Basically, we want to say ng if there is cart.items.length, like so. So only if there is cart items.length, we want to show this this div. And now let's loop through the cart items and display this information. So what we can do here, we can just use ng for loop for equals let item of cart.items, and here instead of the keyboard you can use item.name, and here we can use item.quantity, quantity, like so. And here instead of this hard-coded price, we want to use the price, or actually just item.price, like so. Okay, and for the total here, we want to use the getTotal method, which we actually created already in the cart component. So price cart, actually cart.items here, cart.items. What we need to pass is we want to pass all the items to the getTotal method, so that it can go loop through all of them and calculate the final value, right? And let's use this method. Let's create this method. So inside of the header, getTotal, this one, it will return actual number, and it will get the items array of items, which is actually type of array of cart item. Okay, not cart component, cart item. Okay, like so. And what we want to do here is showing the error because we are not returning anything. What we can do is we don't want to duplicate the code that we have, so we can go into pages, cart, and cart component and get this method which is already created, getTotal. Here we can copy it inside of our service and access this method from 2 places. So here we can add this method, and now inside of the cart component we can call this method. So let's add private underscore, or actually cart service, and name it cart, and add the type of the cart service. Make sure that the cart service is imported on top here. And now we can, instead of defining this method, we can just call this cart service method. So return this.cart service and return the method that we just created, getTotal, and pass the items here, like so. And we can create this exactly the same method in the, okay, let's save this, exactly the same method here in the header. and it will receive in return the total amount. Okay, so what it's reporting is that we haven't imported the cart service. So let's do that. Private cart service. Private means that we are only going to use this inside of our class component. We're not going to use it inside of the HTML. So if you want to use your services inside of the HTML, you would avoid this private keyword. Okay, cart service, and let's add the definition of the cart service, and make sure again it's imported on the very top here. Let's save this, and let's save this. And the last thing that I want to add here, and since we are on the shopping cart, let's add a method for removing or actually clearing the shopping cart. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to add a new method. So here on remove shopping cart. So when you're on click event, let's add on clear cart. This method is not going to receive any argument because we just want to empty the cart and emit on clear cart. Okay, so, and we want to, let me say this, and I want to create a service inside of the cart so that actually it can be used on multiple places. Okay, let's go to the cart service. I can remove this log that we had before, and here let's create this method clear cart. This method is not going to return anything. It's not receiving any arguments. So the only thing that we are doing here is we are emitting the empty resetted value for our cart. So we will just call the next with items array empty. Okay, like so. And we can display this information to the user. This dot snack bar dot open cart is clear. And again, let's add OK text for a button, and let's set the duration to 3000 milliseconds, or 3 seconds if it's easier for you. Now let's just call this method inside of our header component here. This dot cart service dot clear cart. Okay, like so. And now we have completed everything except the fact that we are passing this cart object. So we need to subscribe to our cart service for this, actually for this behavior subject, and we want to update our menu. As you can see right now, this is empty, but if we add something to our cart, we know that it gets added because we logged it and tested it before. But if we open up our cart, it's not getting any values. So it's because we are not sending this cart object to this component. So where we need to do that is close this header component and open up the component where this header component is placed, and that's inside of our root component. So that's inside of just in the app component here. Okay, we have here app header. We can remove this title, we are not using it, and we can create new cart property, and the name and the type of this cart property is going to be cart. And let's set the default values like we usually do. So the items array, like so, and it's empty array. Now we want to implement the ng on init lifecycle hook on init, and make sure that it's imported from the Angular core. And now let's implement it. So here ng on init. This basically method runs when the component starts initialization. Okay, and we want to include our cart service in the constructor. So let's define the private cart service, which is type of cart service here. And again, it's being imported on the top. And now when the component is initializing, we want to call this dot cart service, and we want to subscribe to our cart property. So subscribe there, and it will receive back a cart once it gets updated. And all we want to do is we want to update our cart property here. This cart is equal to cart. Okay. And now what we can do here is we can use this cart and pass that to our header component. And that's exactly here. So cart is equal to cart we just created. Okay. And let's test this out. So now we should get this cart component updated as well. So if I click, you get here notification that actually we get one item added there. And if we open up, we can see that we have one items, and it's basically sneakers quantity 1, and this the price, and this is the total price. Let's try to increase the quantity. So we have added another item, we get the quantity to 2, and we actually see that we added quantity to 2. So let's see if we add additional product. So let's say, or actually, I think this is enough for just testing purposes. Later we will try with the actual data, but for now it's okay. So the next thing that I want to apply is once somebody adds product to the cart, he wants to go to view the cart, and here we want to update this cart page with the cart as well. So we need to subscribe to the cart from the cart page component as well, and to loop and display all this information there as well. So let's do that. So in order to do that, let's close the app component and let's open the pages folder and open up the cart component. Okay. So here we want to subscribe to our new created cart item. So let's just call this .cart service .cart.subscribe. Here we get back new cart, which is type of cart. Okay, and all we want to do here is we want to update our cart with this new one, underscore cart. Okay, like so. And let's set the data source here to cart items. Okay, let's refresh. Your cart is empty. We are not saving this into local storage. This could be a fun exercise for you guys, but for this tutorial, I'm not going to handle this in the local storage. So every time that we actually refresh, it's going to lose the state. You can fix this with local storage and save all the information there. So let's add a couple of items to the cart, and now let's view the cart. And as you can see, we got 2 items in the cart, and it's actually displaying now this information. So the next thing which I wanted to implement is, let's implement this clear all, so that we can actually clear this cart. So let's add this method. So on clear cart, it's not returning anything because we just want to clear a cart. And here we will just call this .cart service .clear cart. We already defined this method. Okay, and now we want to call this method on clear cart once we click on the clear all. So let's find this clear all button. So it's under the actions here, and let me wrap this so you can see view word wrap, so you can see everything. And here on the button, let's add clear all. Let's add a click is equal to on clear cart. Now let's try again. So start shopping, let's add one item, let's view cart, clear all, and cart is cleared, and we get the message. Okay, start shopping. So what we want to do next is let's add, so if I add some products here, view cart, so let's add this clear. So we want to remove only this row. So maybe we have a couple of items, maybe we have like 3 or 4 products in the cart, and we want to remove the specific one. So we don't want to clear entire cart. So let's add that method. So let me just see where that method is. So it's on this here, on this element. Okay. And let's add a click event here, click event, and the name of this event is going to be on remove from cart. Make sure it's camel cased. Okay, copy that. Let's head over to the cart component, and here let's create a new method, and it's going to be called on remove from cart. Okay, and actually we need to pass an element here because we want to remove only one element. So only remove from cart, and let's pass this element. Okay, and inside of the on remove from cart, it's not going to return anything, so return type is void, but it's going to receive an item, which is cart item. Okay, and we will gonna create this method inside of the service. So this dot cart service, and we'll name it remove from cart, remove from carts, like so, and we'll pass an item here. Now let's define this method, the cart service. Open up the cart service here, and let's add this new method. It's not going to return anything. It's just going to update the cart object and emit that. So what we are going to do here, we're going to receive item, which is type of cart item, actually cart item, like so, and we want to loop through the cart elements. So this dot cart dot value dot items, and we want to filter. There are multiple ways in order to remove an item from the array, but we can use filter for this one. You can choose your own way. So basically we get the item inside of the loop, and we just check if the item dot id is not equal to item dot id. So basically all the elements, all the items in the array they don't have the id from this item are going to pass this. So we are only removing one item from the array, and we want to store this to new constant and name it filtered items, like so. Okay, and all we want to do next is we want to update this dot cart dot next, update the items with filtered items, and we want to show corresponding message to the user. This dot underscore snackbar dot open, and the message will be one item removed from cart dot, and let's add control text OK, and let's add duration to 300 milliseconds or 3 seconds again. Okay, let's save all this stuff, and we can try this now. So start shopping, and let's add a couple of items into a cart. You can view cart, and if remove, actually this is not going to be tested properly because we only have one item in the cart, but once we are added the API, you can see that we are only removing the row, and as you can see, it works as expected. One item has been removed from the cart. Okay, the next thing that I want to implement, let me just add one item again. What I want to add is basically I want to add this quantity feature. So we want to be able to update the quantity inside of our cart page. So let's create that. So let's first add the addition. So this is going to be easier. So we want to find this method for the quantity here, quantity, and this is the button for removal, and we want the button for addition. Okay, so let's add a new event, click, and on click we want to add new method which is called on add quantity. Okay, and it will pass the element as argument. So it's this element. Okay, now let's add this. Okay, sorry, my mouse is jumping around. Let me just see on add, remove from cart, and on add quantity here. Let me copy it, and let's add this method here on add quantity. So this method is not returning anything, but it's accepting the item, which is a type of cart item, and this method has already been created. So we'll just call this .service cart service dot add to cart, and we'll just pass an item. and it will go to this cart service and this add to cart method, and it will check if this item is in the cart. If it is, it will increase the quantity. And since it's already in the cart, it should increase the quantity right away. So let's start shopping, add item to the cart. Okay, now let's go and view the cart and let's try it. And yes, the quantity is getting updated, as you can see, and the total price is getting updated as well. The total, and here the total. Okay, the next thing that I want to add is to remove the quantity, which is not working, but let's add that. So let's go to the on add quantity and let's add new event. Let's copy this here. Let's add new click event here, and for this one, let's call it on remove quantity. On remove quantity. Okay, like so. Let's copy it in here. Let's add this method on remove quantity. It's going to be similar like the previous one. So it's going to have items, or actually item that is cart item as argument, and it's not going to return anything. Okay, and we are going to create new method because we don't have this method in the cart yet. So, but let's call it this dot cart service dot on, or actually just call it remove quantity. Okay, and pass the item. And let's copy this method definition and let's create new one. Okay, so let's, here in the cart service, let's add new method here, and this method is going to receive new items. So just add item as cart item, and the return type is going to be void because we are not going to return anything. Okay, now let's what we want to do here is we want to loop through the array of the items, same as we did here on the add to items, but we want to mark what is the quantity that we want to remove. So this dot cart dot value dot items, and just map, we access the item inside of the array here, and we want to check, okay, if this item .id is equal to the past item.ie, if it's equal to this one. So this is the item that we want to remove the quantity. So here we want to remove item dot quantity. Let's use the short syntax minus minus. So here we are removing the quantity. But the one thing, there's one edge case. We want to check if the quantity is 0. So it basically means that this item should be removed from the cart, right? So if we hit like 0, if we are like on 5, we just hit minus minus and it's 4, and that's fine. We're good to go. But if we are like on 1 and we hit minus minus, we hit the 0, and it means that this product needs to be removed from the cart. So what we can do is we can check here if item dot quantity is equal to 0, we can actually mark this item for removal. So let's create another variable, let item for removal, and this is going to be cart type of cart item or undefined. Okay, so if this is if the quantity is 0, item for removal is equal to item. Okay, and then once we updated this, we can just return the item, mapped item, return like so. So here we are mapping this array, and basically we are updating the quantity property. And once we map this array, we want to store this inside of the variable. So let's call it let filtered items, like so. And now we want to check if we mark any items for removal, and we will call the method that we already created for removing the items from the cart, right? So if there's item for removal called this dot remove from cart and pass in filtered items, or actually yes, actually we need to pass the item for removal, so it's this one. Okay, because we only want to pass one argument, one property. And we want to update the filtered items, okay, with the results that we have. And filtered items is returning an error. What is not accessible to cart item? Okay, let's see. So what is not assignable to filtered items? So what we can do here is we can set the type, or actually we are not returning anything from the cart. So that's why it's showing us the error. So we need to return something from the cart here. Okay, another thing that I want to do here is not only that I want to remove from the cart, but I also don't want to duplicate the notifications. So as you can see, if we add the notifications here, like this dot underscore snack bar dot open, one item removed from cart, and let's add the OK and the duration inside of the configuration object, duration to 300 milliseconds. You can see here, and we also want to obviously this dot cart to emit the new value, right? This dot next, and we want to emit the items, filtered items. Okay. But the problem with this is we are calling this remove cart, and it's also notifying the user. So what we can do is we can send a flag. So like so, add a flag. Do we want to notify the users or not? And add here one property. So notify, or even update, which is equal by default to true. And here we can check if we want to update, then update the cart and send the notification. Otherwise, you will get two notifications. And we also need to return something so that we actually get this value, right? Okay, so we just need to return from the remove from cart these filtered items. Okay, so return filtered items. So it means that we are returning array of cart item, like so. And now it should work. If we save it, let's try now. So start shopping. Let's add a couple of items in the cart, actually 7 of them. And now if we go, let's try minus, we're reducing the quantity, in plus we are increasing the quantity. And let's see what happens if we hit the 0. Boom, it empties the shopping cart. And with this, we have covered most of the use cases that we wanted for our shopping cart. And the last piece of our application is left to be done is basically we want to implement the APIs. So let's do that next. So let me close all these files, and we need to create another service. And this service is going to handle the API request to this fake store API. So in case you missed it, you are going to be using fake store API, and the links to this API is going to be in the description, obviously. And I highly advise you to go and to read the docs. There are much more properties and more endpoints that we are going to be using in this tutorial, but just in case you want to check and maybe you want to build your own version of the store, you can go and check it out. It's the good thing about this fake store API, it's really easy to access all the data that we need, and the simplicity is what you want, especially when you're just learning all these topics. Okay, now let's open up the terminal, and we are in the services folder, and what we can do is we can go and type in ng generate service and name it as store. This is going to be actual store service. Yes. So click enter, and it will take a couple of seconds to make it. And once again, we want to go and import this service inside of the providers array into the app module. So here, store type in store service, and make sure it's imported on the top here. Now let's close it. Open up the store service, the service that we just created here. Okay, so here what we want to do is we want to import the HTTP client first. So this is the client that we're going to use in order to fetch the data. So add the private HTTP client, and the type is HTTP client here, and it's getting imported on the top from the Angular common HTTP. And let's add the base URL for our API request. So add a constant store underscore base underscore URL, and the URL is HTTPS, which is the secure protocol, / fake store API.com. Okay, like so. And we want to create a get all products method, and this method is going to receive two arguments. The first one is the limit, and set the default limit to 12, and the second argument is going to be sort, which is going to be the default sorting, which is going to be this, which stands for descending, right? The return type of this method is going to be observable, and make sure to import that from the Rx.js. And this observable is going to return the type of product array. So array product. And again, make sure to import this product from on the very top. It's showing the error because we are not returning anything at the moment. So, but we're going to fix that just in a second. So return this.http client, and we're going to use get method here. And this get method is going to return array of product here. Oops, not that, just array of product here. Let's copy that. Okay, let me just type it in. Array of product. Okay, like so. And then inside of the parentheses, let's add the first argument is the URL of the API. So let's use the base URL, store base URL, and then you just use the / products. Okay, with this you will get all the products, but we want to apply the limit and we want to apply the sort as well. So what we can do here, we can add question mark sort is equal to, and let's add the sort, and we can also add limit. So limit is equal to limit. Okay, and with this we can get our products, and the place where we are going to call this is actually in the home page component. So open up, we just shrink down this window and open up the home page component, and here inside of the ng on init we're going to call this method. But first let's create the variable where we're going to store this. So we're going to store this inside of the product variable, and it's going to be the property type array of product. Okay, and at the beginning it's going to be undefined, so that's why you need to pass the undefined type as well here. We need to sort variable as well, and the default value is descending, and the count, this is basically the number of items that we want to display, right? So let's set it to 12, which is default one. Okay, and we want to have an products subscription. Products subscription variable. This variable is going to contain our subscription, and once we destroy the component, we want to remove anything because we don't want to have any memory leaks. I will show you how to do that. So the type of this is going to be subscription. You can import it from Rx.js here, like so, and at the beginning it's going to be undefined. Okay, now we want to import our service inside of the constructor. So here let's add a comma, private store service, and type is store service. Okay, and again, make sure to import that from our services folder here on top. And now inside of the ng on init, we can call this this.getProducts, and we will create this method so that we can call it a couple of times when we're changing the filters and the other sorting and showing the columns menu functions. So let's create this getProducts method, and this method is not returning anything or receiving, so it's just going to update the products here. So let's call this store service dot get all products, and what we want to pass in is we want to pass this dot count and this dot sort. Okay, like so, and then we want to subscribe to this method, and once we receive the products, we want to update our products property. This dot products equals to underscore products, like so. And don't forget the products subscription. So what we want to do is we want to store this subscription to this variable. So use this dot subscription, product subscription, and equal to this. And now what we want to do is we want to implement ng on destroy on destroy, and make sure to import the on destroy here on top. It's reporting the error because we are not implementing ng on destroy, and we are said that we are. So what we want to do here is ng on destroy, and it's not returning anything, so we got this nice auto completion, and we just want to check if this dot products subscription exists. So if we created this subscription, we want to unsubscribe this dot product subscription dot unsubscribe. Otherwise, if you navigate to home page and cart page for a couple of times, you may end up creating a couple of subscriptions, and you will result in memory leaks, and that's something that you don't want to have on your application. Especially as your application grows, you may start losing the track of it. So what we want to do now is we want to use the app products box here basically, and we want to loop to the array of the products that we just fetched here. Actually, we may end up with an error because I don't see my layout, so let me see what we actually got here. Oh, actually, it's reporting that we haven't injected HTTP client inside of our inside of our app module. So what we need to do, basically, we are using inside of our store service, we are using this HTTP client, but it's not imported inside of our application. So what we need to do is we need to go to the imports array and import the HTTP client module here. And now we can use the HTTP requests. Close that. Now our application is back. We can go to the home component. Let me close the store component. And let's use this products array. And now let's go to the HTML file and let's make this dynamic product box. So on the math grid tile, let's implement the ng4. And let's create product variable of products. And what we want to do is we want to pass this product to our app product component. So here, product is equal to product. Now let's go to the app product box, which is in the components folder, product box here. And we want to add an input for this product. So here we are hard coding this, but we want to remove it. And we want to create this as an input. Okay, now we can save this and save this. And we should get our products here. So let's see if this works. Okay, I see this works because we are getting some more products that we created, but actually the only thing which is missing is on our product box, we're using the static data. That's the problem. So what we need to do is instead of creating this static data, we can actually use the product that we just got. So let's do that. Here in the source, we can use product.image. For the h5, we can use, this is the category, so call it product.category. Okay, let's save that up. Okay, so product image is not possible because our object is undefined. So what we want to do here is we want to check if we do get the product or not. Otherwise, or we can even check, we can check on two places. So one of the places where we can check here. So basically we can do ng if product. So this way, there's not going to be a chance that this product is undefined. As you can see here, we're getting the images and we're getting the categories. The sneakers is a snack bar, so it's a chocolate snack bar. It's not shoes, so this is wrong naming. Everything is wrong, so let's fix it up. How we can do this is we can access the property of product dot name. This is the name of the product. Let's change the view to the word wrap so you can see everything. For the description, we can add, okay, let me just see, product name. So property name doesn't exist on type product. Okay, this is a good thing of the TypeScript. So let's see what is the name of the actual product. The name is the title actually. Okay, so product.title. Then for the description, as you can see, now it works. And you can see now that we have that truncate class. It's working. So we have this very large title, and so it's cutting this off. And once we hover over, it shows the entire title. Okay. So what is left to be done? So once we switch over on one product per row layout, we get this description, which is static right now. So let's fix this. Okay. Let me just increase this layout. Okay, like so. And so for the description, we want to use the product.description here and close the brackets. And for the price, we want to use the product.price here, product.price, like so. And let's test now how it works. Okay, as you can see, we are getting these prices different now. So we are getting these titles, we are getting these categories, and if we change the layout mode, we get the description as well here. Obviously, the format of the images is not exactly the same in every product, so that's why we get these inconsistencies. But I don't mind that, to be honest. Okay, so this is the different layout, and now let's test if we add different products to our cart item. So you can see we added a couple of items, we added 4 of them, and you can see we get the description, we get the title, we get the total amount that we are supposed to pay. So if you go and click on view cart, we can actually see that we get all this product updated into the cart. And here we can update the quantity, like I said, and we can remove the quantity here, and we can remove the 1 item per row, and we can also clear the cart. Let's test that out here. And we can now return back. So the thing which I wanted to implement next is actually, let me just show you. So the thing that we want to implement is once we click on the sort description, or sort by descending or ascending, or when we click on show 12 or 24 or 36, we want to fetch again all these products and send different parameters. So what we need to do is we need to go to the home component here, and inside of the home component we want to catch this sort and count being changed. So the actual component that holds this count and sort is the actual app products header. So here in the app products header, you're changing these values, and we need to emit these values. So let's open this file. And here, basically we have this sort and item show count. We want to create this as output. So let's create 2 outputs and emit these values. So we can just copy paste this a couple of times, and let's rename this to items count change. And the last one is going to be sort change, and it's going to emit the string type. Okay, so when we change the sort, we want to emit the new value. So this dot sort change dot emit, and we want to emit the new value, which is basically new sort. Okay, and on the items count change, yes, we want to emit new value. So this dot items count change, emit new value, so a count, like so. And don't forget to emit this value. Okay, and now we can catch this item count change and sort change inside of our home component. So let's go to the home component, and here let's change the view to word wrap. Okay, and let's add 2 more events. Okay, and let's copy paste the name of the event. So the first one is items count change. Okay, so this is basically when we are changing this item count, so to 12, 24, 36. So basically we need to set the limit to the request. Items count change, and then we want to call the method on items count change event, and let's create this method here inside of the home component, and let's add it here on the bottom. On items count change, this method is not going to return anything, so it's going to be void. But what it's going to be, it's going to receive new description. So description is going to be type of string, or actually not description, sorry. This is going to receive the count, which is going to be a number, and we want to update this dot count is equal to count, or we can rename this to new count so that we don't have the overlap for the new count, like so. And we want to, okay, so it says that it's not assignable to string. So what we can do here is we can change this to string. Okay, so we can change this format from number to a string, and then we can call again this dot get products. So what we're doing here is basically we're updating the count variable, and we are calling this get products, a method which actually uses this dot count and this dot sort. On the second method, we want to update the sort and again call this product. So let's take this sort change. Okay, home. So this is new event sort change, and we will create new method on sort change, which will also send the new sorting value. Copy this, save it, and let's create this new one. So on sort change, and we will have new sort, which is type of string. It doesn't return anything, so the return type is void, and we will update this dot. The name of the property is, if you want to update is sort. This dot sort is equal to new sort. Okay, and then again we want to call this dot get all products because we want to fetch again. And with this, let's test it out, and let's open the console so that we can see if what is the actual values from the network tab. Okay, let's refresh the page. Okay, and we get the first initial request, which actually sends the sort as description and limit to 12. What if we set the limit to, let's say, 24? It refreshes the page and sends the new request, which is Fixer API products sort is again description, and the limit now is 24. What if we change the value to the ascending? It refreshes the page again and sends another request, and now the sort is ascending, the limit is 24. So as you can see, this is dynamic, and these filters work as expected. The next thing we want to do is we want to use these categories. So as you can see, this is static now. So we want to fetch all the categories that we have. And we want to, once we click on this category, we want to display only the items and the products from that category. So let's do that. We need to open up the services, and let's open up the store service. Okay, so we need to get, we need to add another method here. So the name of this method is get all categories, and this method doesn't accept any parameters, but it returns an observable, and the type of this observable is array of strings, okay, like so. So we want to return this.http client.get, and this get method, it will return again array of strings, okay, like so. And then inside of the get method, we want to pass the base URL, which is store base URL, and then we want to add /products/categories, like so. Okay, now we can close this store service, and we want to go inside of the home component, and we have filters. Inside of these filters, we want to include this store service here, and as you can see, we are hard coding the categories here. So we want to make this dynamic. So include the private service store service, and make sure again to import it on the top. And here inside of the ng on init, this .store service.get all categories, call this method. Okay, and then we want to just update these categories. So these categories actually needs to be undefined at the beginning, so it's array of strings or undefined, like so. And what we want to do here, we are basically getting, we need to subscribe here, .subscribe, and when we get the response back, we just want to update the categories array. This.categories equals to response. Okay, and also don't forget that we want to create category subscription variable so that we can unsubscribe once we leave the home page. So let's name it categories subscription, and this is type of subscription imported from Rx.js, and we want to assign this variable here, category subscription. Again, let's implement ng on destroy here, and let's add it on the very bottom, ng on destroy. And we just want to check if this subscription exists, if this dot category subscription exists. If it's not undefined, and actually it's showing the error because it doesn't have an initializer, and that's why, because at the beginning it's undefined. So if it exists, we want just to unsubscribe from it. This dot category subscription dot unsubscribe, like so. Okay, and basically this component should be working now. As you can see, we get all these values, but now we need to catch this event emitter that we are emitting these categories inside of our home component and update. Let me just close this file and this file. Actually, let me just see what is the type of the event. So inside of the filters, the event is show category. So we want to, when we click on the category here, button click on the category, we are basically emitting this value here, and we want to catch that inside of the home component. So inside of the home component, we have this show category. Actually, we have already this method created. So this show category, and we are updating this category. So now what we want to do is we want to call this get products here. This dot get products like so. But the only thing that we are missing inside of these get products is we are missing this category. So this dot, let me change the word wrap. So this dot category, so that we can actually apply this category to the actual request. So now we need to change our get all products method here, and we need to add additional property. So let's add property which is called category and make it as optional. That's why we add this question mark, and the type of this is just string. Okay. And now let's add here. So here actually after the products we want to add another expression. So we want to check if there is a category string. There's category string. We want to add / category and just add this category. Otherwise we want to pass an empty string, like so. So basically what we're doing here, just change the word wrap. So what we're doing here is we are just checking if there's category. If it is, we're adding the category namespace and the category itself. Otherwise we just return the string. So the API endpoint remains the same. So let's test that out. So if we click on the categories, and let's say we click on the men's clothing, and as you can see we only get these products for the men's clothing. If you click on jewelry, we get only the jewelry. If you click on the electronics, you only get the electronics, and it works as expected. And the last piece of the puzzle is to integrate the payment and the checkout and the actual ordering flow. So like I said at the beginning of this video, is that you need to go on stripe.com and you just need to go and to create your account. So just go to stripe.com and you need to sign up here. So I already signed up, and once you are signed up and signed in, you can go to the dashboard. And once you access the dashboard, there's a section for the developers. So here on the right top, you can click on the developers, and in the test mode, you need to activate your account in order to get the real live data. So here we have the API keys that we are going to be using inside of our application in order to integrate the Stripe. Okay, so let's start doing the implementation. Let me close all of these files. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to install a Stripe.js package that we are going to be using. So make sure that you're inside of the root folder, and then let's do npm install. Let me just shrink down this window. Npm install at stripe /stripe-js, and the version is going to be 1.35.0, like so. It will take a couple of seconds to install. Okay, so once again, make sure that you're installing the correct version and the same version as I'm doing here. Now we need to include the Stripe as well inside of the index.html file. So make sure to go to the basically source folder and target the index.html file. And we want to include this inside of the head. So add a script like so, and just add a source, https://js.stripe.com and version 3. And this way we have included the Stripe into our application. Okay, I can close the index.html file. Let me open up the terminal now, and let me just restart our server. Now we need to go to the checkout page. So open up the pages, cart page, not the checkout page. And here we have checkout button. On the very bottom here, proceed to the checkout. So we want to create a method that will call this checkout. So here on click, call on checkout method. So let's call this method here inside of the cart component, and let's add it on the very bottom. What we can do is we will add this method on the cart service itself. So this method doesn't return anything, so the type is going to be void, and we need to include the HTTP client here. What we can do, we can also extract this call to the service, separated a different service, but we can include it into this one as well. So let's call it private HTTP. Now we're just including the HTTP client here, and make sure again that it's imported. Just enlarge it. Make sure that it's imported on top here. And now inside of our on checkout, what we're gonna do is we want to call the Stripe service. And let me show you. So we are first making the post request. So this.http HTTP client. So we are targeting this service and make the post request. And the post request that we are going to make is going to be the request to our local server that is going to handle this post request and make a request by itself on the Stripe. Then it will return the session ID, and using that session ID, we can open up the checkout page. So you will see. The URL of this request is going to be HTTP. It's going to be our local server. So local host, and we are gonna open that up on the port 42442, like so, and /checkout. Okay. And inside of the object, we want to pass items. So this .cart.items, and we can handle these items inside of the server and send that to the Stripe. Okay, and once we get the response back, so once we receive something from the server, we can subscribe to it, and this is going to be async operation. And the result, we will put the type of any, because we don't have any type definition here defined. It's a little bit outside of the scope of this tutorial. So first we need to load the Stripe. So let's Stripe is equal await, and this is why this is an async operation, because we need to load the Stripe here inside of this subscribe scope. So we need to use the load Stripe method from the package that we installed. So make sure to import here. Import load Stripe from @stripe-js. So this is the method that we are using to load the Stripe. And inside of the parentheses, we need to pass the key that we have on our dashboard. So once again, go to the stripe.com and to the dashboard. And go to your dashboard once you're logged in. Go to the developers tab and API keys. And the key that we need is this publishable key. And click to copy. Set copied. Obviously, you need to copy your own key. It needs to be different than mine, obviously. And let me close this. And once we load the Stripe, what we can do is we can use the Stripe, and we can call the method redirect to checkout. And how we do that is from the session itself on the server, we will return session ID. And we just need to pass the session ID, and that's how we open the checkout. So session ID is going to be result here that we respond back, and we will just return an ID there, like so. Okay, and now let me save this checkout. Now, in order this to work, obviously we need to create a local server and run it on the port 4242 and create this post endpoint checkout. So let's do that. Okay, let me create a new folder inside of the root. So just create a new folder and name it server. Okay, and let me initialize. We need a new Node.js application. So let me just see where we are at. We are in the root folder. Okay, so cd into server. Here inside of the server folder, we want to initialize a new Node application. So run npm init and -y. So we don't want any sub questions. We just want to initialize the plain Node.js application. And here we need to install three things. So we want to use Express.js framework for our Node application. We want to install the course because we are going to create some cross-origin resource requests, and we want to install the Stripe, obviously. So let's run npm install course. Version is going to be 2.8.5. The next one is Express, and the version is going to be 4.18.1, and the last one is Stripe, and the version is 10.7.0. Okay, and let me close this card components, and let me open up our new server folder. Okay, let's open up the package.json file, and as you can see, we have created this new project and installed our 3 dependencies here. So now what we need to do is we need to create our main file. So let's name it server.js, like so. Okay, and now inside of this server, let's create our application. So first we need to include the libraries that we need. The good thing about this server and Stripe is that they already built a couple of pages like success pages, redirect, cancel, all these pages for us. So we will later on just download these assets and place them in the public folder. And once we complete the ordering, we can redirect users to these pages. So we don't have to build that part. I mean, you could, but this is easier and more faster. Okay. First, import the Express. So const Express, this require Express. The next one which we want to import is course. Otherwise, if you don't import and use the course, you will get an error when you're trying to make the cross-origin requests. So this one requires course. And the next one is body parser. So this one is for parsing body, the data that we're sending between the servers. So as it tells by its name, body parser, and it requires body-parser. Okay, like so. So now what we can do, we need to initialize our application. Const app is equal express, and we just call the express without any arguments there. The next thing, okay, the next thing that I want to do is I want to set the app to use the public folder. So let's create a new folder, public, and let me open up the Stripe checkout flow. So let me show you this. So like I said, they already have checkout flow built in. So let's explore this. As you can see, they have already built all of this, and so you don't have to do these kind of things and spend your time into building like success page and maybe a failures page. So you can go and click here on the top, explore the documents, and you can go on quick start here. And once you're here, you basically can just copy paste all this entire code if you want to, but I can just go and download this. And we can use the checkout, success, and cancel HTML files and just include them inside of our public folder. Okay. Just make sure it's downloaded. Okay, so we have downloaded here. And now I can use this public folder and extract it. Okay. Actually, I need to open up revealing the file explorer. It would be good if it can read directly from the zip file, but it doesn't. So let's remove the public folder and let's just include this public folder here. Okay, so in this public folder, we have this cancel HTML, checkout HTML, and success HTML file. We will actually only use the cancel and success. The checkout HTML file is not going to be used in this tutorial. So let's close this checkout page. And now inside of our Express application, app.use, we want to use this folder. So in order to access these assets from the public folder, we need to call express.static and pass the name of the folder, which is public. Okay, like so. Now we need to set the body parser. So call the app.use and call the body parser and set the URL encoded to extended as false. This basically extended is by default true, so it enables the objects and arrays to be encoded inside of the URL, which we don't want. So let me just copy paste this one. And also what we want to do is we want to create JSON JSON we want to use the application/JSON for our app, obviously. And now let's use the course. So we need to set that up. So app.use and call the course. We need to set the origin. So basically we are enabling course here, origin true. And we want to enable the headers as well. Otherwise they will be omitted. So set the credentials to true as well. Okay, like so. And now let's load the stripe. So const stripe is equal to require. And now here we need to include the code and the token from the stripe itself. So here we need to call the stripe method. We're requiring stripe, and then we are calling the method with the key. So once again, let's go to the stripe.com. Here, and let's go to the dashboard. Let's go to the developers in API keys, and we need to open up this secret key. So reveal test key, and we can click to copy. We can close this now, and we can pass this key here to our server. Okay, like so. Obviously, like I said, you need to create your own servers, and you need to create your own keys, right? Please don't use mine. Okay, and now let's create a new post endpoint. So app.post. Okay, and the name of this request like we created inside of the checkout. So if we go to the public folder and here inside of the source, app, pages, cart, and here we created this checkout endpoint. So let's use that here, checkout. And this is going to be async callback. So here we have request, we have response, and we have next, which will handle the errors in case anything comes up. So let's build try catch block here. We get this auto completed from the IntelliJ, from the Visual Studio Code, and we will create a session variable which we will use to pass that back to our request here in the cart, and we will pass back the ID from the session so that we can open up checkout. Okay, so what we are going to do here is basically we are calling the stripe. So we are call await on stripe dot checkout checkout dot sessions. Okay, and you call the create method, create, like so. And we need to pass an object. Inside of this object we will pass the data about our product that we want to buy. So the first argument is line underscore items, and here we will use the request that we got and the body. So request dot body, and we will send, as you can see here, from our client. Here from our client we are sending items. So we can access the items here, request body dot items. And what we want to do is we want to map this array. Okay, so here we can access the item, and what we will return here is a new object. And inside of this object, let me just make an implicit return. Okay, so you just surround this by the parentheses, and this is implicit return. And now inside of the object, set the currency to be USD, like so. Set the product underscore data to be new object, and inside of this object we want to pass the name and the images. So the name is going to be item.name, and the images, we actually have only one image, so images, but it accepts the array of images. So use the item.product. Okay, like so. And this is for product data. Then we need to send a unit amount. So this is the quantity, unit underscore amount. Actually, unit amount is the actual price. So you go to item.price, and we need to multiply that with 100, because they use that in cents, and we want to use that in dollars. Okay. And okay, let me close this. The next parameter that we need to send is the mode. So the mode needs to be payment. There are multiple ways. There are multiple modes actually, and there are subscriptions, one-time payments, and this is actually one-time payment. So that is what we are setting here. And the next thing is the success URL. Success_URL. So once the payment has been done successfully, we will redirect the user to this URL. And actually, let me make this double quotes as well, so that we have the same standard, and the USD here. So let's use the double quotes here always. Okay, so success URL is going to be the the success HTML file from our public folder. So called http :// localhost 4242, and then success.html. Okay, and then we want to add cancel URL as well. Cancel_URL, and just add the cancel file. What you can do now is you can obviously go and update the success HTML file. For example, here it says mail to orders as example. We can do collab or code.it.slova, at gmail.com, like so, and copy paste this as well, so that we have custom success page. You can make this much better, obviously, but this is just this will do it, right? And instead of the catch error, we just want to pass the error back. So call the next, and we actually need to catch the error here and just pass the error back, like so. And the last thing I forgot to do is basically we want to return back, like I said, the session. So use the response.status, use the status 200, and respond in the JSON format, and just set in the session. Okay, so we are sending this session entirely here. And the last part actually, which I forgot, is to open up the port and open up the actual application. So app.listen, and the port that we said that we're going to be using 424242. And what we want to do is we just want to console log app is running on 424242, just 4242. Okay. And now we can open up the terminal and start our application. Inside of the server, run node, and name of the file is server.js. App is running on 424242. Okay, and our client app is running as well. So let's try it. Let me refresh our application. Let's select a couple of products here. Open up the cart. Let's go to the cart page. Here, let's continue. Proceed to the checkout. Okay, this can take a couple of seconds. Let me open that inspect tool in case we have some errors. Okay, we are getting some errors, so let me just see. And if we open up the console log, we can see that the request hasn't been correct. So let me see the server, what it says. Okay, let's see, we are getting some errors. So item is not defined. We are getting, okay, received unknown parameters, unit amount. Okay, so obviously we have been sending the wrong format. So what we can do is we can open up the Stripe documentation here, and we can just copy paste the correct format. So inside of it here, inside of the line items, let's just copy paste this object. Okay, so here line items, it's basically this object. Let's replace it here. Okay, And now, okay, let me just see, we're mapping here, we're closing, we need another brackets, so make sure that you will have right spelling. Okay, and now for the currency, USD, for the name, we will use item.name. For the images, like we said, we have only one image, so use the item.product inside of the array. Okay, for the unit amount, we will use item.price, and we will increase it by 100. And for the quantity, we want item.quantity, like so. Let me restart the server. Okay, node server. App is running on 4242. Okay, let me move this here. And now let me refresh to see what we get. So if I go now at the bottom, here proceed to the checkout. If I click on that here, okay, it's loading. And now we get our checkout page. So as you can see, we have these products, we have the total amount, and we have all this information to fill in. So we can type in just test email at gmail.com. For the testing, you need to use 424242. Then for the month, doesn't matter. For CSV, doesn't matter. Name on the card, Sloba. And let's click pay. No, thanks, I don't want to save. Okay, we appreciate your business. And basically we got the checkout page. Okay, this is expired link because I accidentally click on back. But if we go to Stripe dashboard, we should check out and see if we got this payment processed. So let's go to the dashboard. Let's go to the payments here. And this is the last one. And as you can see, we got our products in the dashboard. And these are the details, so Sloba, test, Gmail, and all of this. So what we can do next is let me open up our application again. Localhost 4000. Okay, let me just change the protocol to remove the secure one. Okay, so what we can do here is we can integrate the shipping. So with this, we have integrated the payments, but if you're ordering something, you want to integrate the shipping as well. So this is like just a donation, but if you want to add shipping options, so you can go to the documentation of the Stripe. You have here Stripe, docs, payments, checkout, and the shipping. And what we can do, we can just pass these shipping options, right? So let me see, we have added these line items, and let me just copy this entire part because you can customize it, but you don't have to. So let's copy it entirely, and let's see. Okay, so here before the line items, let's copy this shipping details like so. And if you want to customize something, you can easily do that. So, but basically the options are regular. So here you can update like the shipping countries. Here is set to US and Canada. Shipping options, as you can see, we have like the fixed amount. This is like free shipping, so the amount is 0. The second option is to have shipping for $1,500 USD dollars, and you have like display name. All these properties you can alter if you want. So let me just indent this code. Okay, like so. So let's try this now. Let's save this. Let's restart our server. Okay, app is running. And now let's test it. What we can do here, let's select jewelry. Let's add a couple of products. Like so. Let's go to the cart, view cart. Let me open up the console. So we can go proceed to the checkout here. And let's see. Okay, we do get now the shipping as well. So as you can see on the left side, we do have all the products that we created and the total view. And the shipping is free. Okay, we have, two options, free shipping and next day, sir. So if you click on the next day, sir, you get $15. If you click on free shipping, it will take 5 or 7 business days. So for the email, we can test at test.com, name Slova, address 1, test, address 2, test. For the city, New York, zip code, Virginia. This is all random, obviously. And for the card information, 424242, just 42. Okay, you can enter whatever you want here for the CV. And if we want to go to pay, let's see, I don't want to save. It's processing, should be successful. We appreciate your business. If you have any questions, please email code.wcislo. I want to save this. And if I go now to the stripe.com, here, let's open up the dashboard again. And let's see, under the payments, here we have the last transaction, and here you can see all the information. So here are the owner information, the address, where you want to ship your order, and everything looks as expected. So with this, we have actually completed our application. So let me navigate back and let me review what we have created in this tutorial. So basically what we did is we created this home page with all of these products, which we can sort by ascending or descending. We also created this menu where we can choose different number of items that we want to display on our current page. We also have the options to change the layout depending on how we want to look. And we also have the options and the filters on the left side to filter our categories, electronics, jewelry, men's clothing, and so on. Also, there are options, obviously, because this is a store, to add these items to the cart. We can open the cart and preview what we have there. We can clear the cart, so this is now empty. Then again, if we want to proceed and buy some new things, we can add them. Then we can proceed to the checkout. Just click on the green. And here on the checkout, we have a list of all the items that we added to the cart. We can increase the quantity. We can remove the quantity if you want, and just, let's say, buy only this one. Men casual slim fit, this t-shirt. And we can proceed to the checkout. If you click on proceed to the checkout, we get this checkout form where we can enter all the shipping details and the cart information, and we can submit that to our Stripe dashboard. And with this, we basically build our e-commerce store. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something new.
Well, that's all for this Angular video.
And thanks for stopping by.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Code with Sloba.
Thank you for watching the entire video. To see more Angular tutorials, click here.